Weird battle, actually, between those teams on the fringe, because they've teased us with some good football, but in the last couple of weeks they've also dropped games too. So Collingwood are just hanging in there, but tonight is absolutely must-win for the Pies.
No change to the selected teams. We'll give you all of the ins and all of the outs in just a moment, but let's get a PointsBet update for tonight's game with Elliot Forbes.
An odds update, proudly brought to you by PointsBet's AFL Early Payout. Lead at half-time and you win. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.
G'day punters, Elliot from PointsBet looking into this one tonight. Collingwood versus North Melbourne. Collingwood, they are your favourites. $1.38 with us at PointsBet. North Melbourne outsiders just over $3, $3.05. If you're having a bet on the line, just over 15 points, 15.5 here for North at the start. But we have seen some pretty good money come for Collingwood, so don't be surprised if that shifts a point or two. The elite odds been available every game this round and likely to continue next round because the punters absolutely love it. Scott Pendlebury and Steele Sidebottom to combine for 45 or more disposals with us at PointsBet tonight. You're going to get $2.50. Good luck finding that with any other bookie. Pendles and Sidebottom to combine for 45 or more disposals, $2.50. We'll have a quick look at the first goal scorer market. It's pretty open here. Mason Cox on your first line of betting, $11. Nick Larkey at $11. Darcy Cameron also at $11. Jamie Elliott at $11 as well. And at PointsBet, the early payout, it is back from next week. Thursday, Friday and Saturday night games. If your team leads at halftime, you win. It's as easy as that to get paid early at PointsBet. If you're up at halftime, we'll pay your head-to-head bet out as a winner. T's and C's do apply, so jump onto pointsbet.com.au. Download the app, and as always, please gamble responsibly.
Good on you, Elliot. Thank you very much. It's brought to you by PointsBet's AFL Early Payout. Lead at halftime and you win. Gamble responsibly. And, of course, if gambling is a problem for you or someone you know, please call 1-800-858-858. So the all-important ins and the outs for North Melbourne. Paul Ahern back into the team tonight. Robbie Tarrant, who was a late withdrawal for the game last weekend against Brisbane, is back. And out goes Sam Durden, who's been omitted, and Will Walker with a hamstring. But the interest lies from the ins and the outs for Collingwood. Plough. Flynn Appleby for his first game of the year. Mason Cox for his first game since round 6. Levi Greenwood for his first game since the qualifying final last year against Geelong. Chris Mayne and Jordan Roughhead back in as well. Callum Brown has been omitted. Lyndon Dunn omitted. Rupert Wills has been omitted. And out goes Ben Reid and Brodie Myercheck through injury.
Yeah, it looks fairly interesting, doesn't it? Does Greenwood come in? Does he play across the back line as a seventh defender? Does he tag? How does that sort of play out? We'll watch that with interest as the game goes on. But look, I suppose when you're in Collingwood situation, you've got to have a look at what you've got. And we're now, after tonight, it's 5 rounds to go. But for a lot of these sides, it's only 4 games, isn't it?
Yeah,
with the byes still coming up. So it's starting to get to a fairly critical position, as Jordan mentioned about continuing to win to get your position, but also in this last month of football, just working out who is and who isn't going to be a part of it if you are playing finals.
So the matchups, with that in mind, for Coates Hire can make it happen. Mason Cox, Darcy Cameron, Brodie Grundy all playing in the same team tonight, albeit Brodie Myercheck out. What does it look like? This is how well I know you. I know you. It's the first thing you would have had written down. 3
ruck pies is what I had as my little heading.
We work together too much.
Well, and look, it's not often you see a situation of 3 ruckmen playing in the one side, and I know you can sort of say Cox potentially key forward, but they're ruck size, and to have therefore 2 ruck-sized key forwards is very unusual. So we'll have to wait and sort of see how it goes. How will the matchups go? Well, obviously Goldstein and Grundy's going to be a fascinating situation. I think Goldie's actually been in better form than Brodie Grundy. So if I had to pick out of the 2 which has had the better year, I'd say Goldie's had marginally the better year. I think that McKay, if they're going to be serious about finding out who is and who isn't, they've left Durden out of the side. McKay has to take one of the 2. So I'm sort of saying, okay, he probably takes Cameron, and I'm suggesting that Tarrant probably goes to Cox. So that's the way I've got them matched up. The other one that I was interested in, Jed Anderson's been playing off the toes of some really quality players of recent times. I don't know which one it'll be. I mean, will it be Sidebottom? Will it be Pendlebury, or will it be Adams? I'd love to see him play Adams, because
does he suit that inside player more?
It'll be a bone cruncher. If Sidebottom comes to him, they take Anderson away from the action. They'll play him out on a wing, play him at half back, play him at half forward, whatever they want to do with him. So I sense that it'll be Adams or Pendlebury. As I said, I want it to be Adams because it'll be just a real head-to-head contest. And the other one that I'm really interested in is Luke Davies-Uniacke versus any of the senior Collingwood midfielders. I just want to see whether he's ready to take the step. We've seen marginal signs, but it's been kids on kids. I want to see him tonight on senior Collingwood midfielders and see how he goes.
Whatever you need, a coach hire can make it happen. There's all the matchups for tonight's game.
Players finishing up their Ream warm-ups. Ream, Australia's number one, coming into the middle for the coin toss. We've got Jed Anderson, Jai Simpkin and Paul Ahern in there with Travis Varco, the Indigenous representatives, and also Scott Pendlebury doing the toss for the Pies. I'll pose for a photo. The weather update for Fujitsu, Australia's favourite air, 15 degrees around Brisbane tonight in this game at the Gabba. Clear, no rain about, so we'll have pristine conditions for tonight's encounter. Buying new or upgrading, just get a Fujitsu. And for the ground report as well, for Corteva Agriscience, the future of agriculture. The middle I saw was looking a little bit patchy, but I think overall the Gabba's a bit better than Metricon by comparison.
Yeah,
so
it's holding up beautifully, the Gabba, isn't it?
Well, I suppose it's had less games, hasn't it? I mean, Metricon's been the ground that's really been utilised the most. I think it's done really a reasonable job. If you think of any of the grounds down in Melbourne, if they had been given the same use, let's call it Marvel, we've seen what that was like.
I don't think Marvel would be very good, Nick.
No, so therefore, I mean, I think it's held up pretty well.
Corteva Agriscience keep growing.
So we're just about ready to go. Scott Pendlebury getting one final address into his men. Both teams have completed their warm-ups for Ream, except nothing less than Australia's best installer Ream. Who's winning?
What are we expecting, boys?
That's for you to answer first.
Look,
and then I might follow after that.
I think Collingwood have got enough seniority still there to be able to get the job done. We know this is most likely Steel Sidebottom's last game, and that's going to be really tough for them to deal with, but I still think there's enough seniority to win. I'm going about 4 goals. I think that's about the margin between them, but I was wrapped with the kids of North Melbourne last week. They really competed well.
Jordan?
Yeah, the experience that Collingwood bring in is I think, crucial for this game. They have to get on top early, which against North Melbourne you'd think would be a slightly easier task compared to other teams. But just for Collingwood's own sake and their own confidence now heading into this final phase, to get on top early in this game is, I think it's critical for their confidence.
So the Pies will kick to the Wollongabba end. Mason Cox goes to full forward.
That was and Terrence's direct opponent, which we expected that to be the case.
The opening bounce for Tyre Power, kicking goals with Kumo Tyres. Monday night footy at the Gabba. Our umpires tonight, Brendan Hosking, John Howarth and Ray Chamberlain. They are ready to go, and so is Jordan Canellis.
Final game of Sir Douglas Nicholls round 13. It's Grundy and Goldstein in the middle. Goldstein got the tap, but Grundy gets the handball off to Pendlebury, who slams it forward first for Collingwood. Up to centre half forward. McDonald tailing back, couldn't take the intercept grab for North. Anderson squeezes out a kick. Simpkin tries to roll through the tackle, but he threw that one out. Anderson running past, trying to get the handball, and it will come back to centre half forward here for Collingwood through Sidebottom.
Well, it looks like we've got the co-tie matchup that we wanted. Jed Anderson on Taylor Adams.
Ugly kick from Sidebottom, kick straight into Simpkin, the man on the mark, who cuts it off. And now Larkey slides into the grab at right half back for North Melbourne, their first meaningful possession of the night.
Co-tie matchup, he's got Darcy Moore. I thought that maybe Roughhead would have gone to him.
An ugly kick as well from Larkey. It's scuffed along the ground, but North Melbourne have players around half back. Atley goes long up towards half forward. This on the far wing. Marnie was in, couldn't get a handle, and Moore busts his way through. Hands off to Noble, then to Crisp. Over the top, Pendlebury pats it down for Maynard, and Collingwood can attack down the far side.
That's better footy. Maynard up to the wing. Cameron, that's Darcy Cameron, won the footy, but gave it straight up. Hands in tight from Simpkin were good to Anderson. He drives to half forward. Good grab, Madgen. Playing in front of Zerha. It's not very often we say that the two 44s are opposing each other, but good mark. Ben Madgen goes backwards to Main, inside defensive 50. Has Hoskin Elliott on the way out, and the Pies have been able to engineer some nice run here. Moore had his kick partially smothered on the way through. Pendlebury on hands and knees to Adams. That no-look handball, not great. And now it's the Roos' turn to control the footy through Vickers Willis.
I'm thinking Adams heard the two Collingwood players calling for the ball. Didn't realise there was a North Melbourne player in between the two of them.
Good to see Vickers Willis back in the lineup after almost 2 years out with various ligament injuries in the knee. Second game of 2020. He squares it up in defence to Williams. And North Melbourne looking to possess the ball in the opening minutes of this game through defence.
One thing you know about Ed Vickers Willis is, boy's a tough kid.
Yep.
Whether he can get himself back, I hope he does, because I thought he showed some signs that he could play at the level, but just hasn't had any chance.
Hosey has it on half back for North. He goes down the line looking for Larkey. Collingwood had the outnumber in the contest. Maynard around the back to Noble, who wraps around the stoppage and fires off a darting handball to Dacos. Back to Maynard again, who floats it awkwardly up to the wing. Pendlebury gathered well. He sees an open man over the top in Elliott, finds him via hands. Down the far wing, he'll go up along the line. Bit heavy for side bottom. Cameron has to put in some work. Tarrant gets in there though for North, and Williams retreats at right half back for the Roos, and they've got possession on the far side of the ground through Tom Murphy.
Dacos just looks like he belongs now. There's a difference when you see players. He always looked just a bit edgy about it, but now he just looks so calm.
No score as yet, as that ball's out of bounds off the hands of Zerha. Type our scoreboard, your trusted tyre experts. Game number 29 tonight for Josh Dacos.
Yeah, I'm not saying that when he kicked that goal the other week, but it is actions like that. It's a couple of good games in a row that just makes you feel that you're absolutely at home at the level.
Adams around the stoppage, hacked it forward. Elliott playing in front. Mark's just forward on the wing position. His kicking ball, not great. It's made it hard work for Noble, but he's up to the challenge to Adams, who tries to change direction. It's in the air for a while. It was important that Madgen marked, and he did. At right half back.
Nice strong mark by Madgen.
That kick careful, but on the lead, running hard, is Levi Greenwood with his first disposal since he ruptured his ACL, as we mentioned, in the qualifying final last year against Geelong.
Trying to release Tarrant almost as a loose man. He's playing on the ruckman, who is the higher one up the ground, so that he can peel off.
Adams bites off a low kick inside 50. No mark taken. The intended target there was Josh Thomas, but Bailey Scott chimes in instead.
Low intensity start to the game. Most of this match played between the arcs. Neither team have really been able to penetrate the 50s yet. We've played 4 minutes on the clock for Makita. Power Garden. Tarrant's kick out of defence, cut off by Crisp, who marks on the wing for Collingwood. He looks to come in board immediately. Hoskin Elliott over the top. Collingwood go inside 50 through Pendlebury, but again, North Melbourne have men around the back. It's Tarrant who takes the grab, exits quickly out to Higgins.
It's a difficult one for Mason Cox coming into this side, because you haven't had the proper match play to be able to be ready for this sort of level of football.
Luke Davies-Uniacke has it on the back edge of the centre square. He'll spread the play with a wobbling kick to the near side and a bit too heavy for Zerha.
Can we pump up the footy? What about some of the kicks early in the game? It's terrible.
No score yet on the scoreboard for Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts. This is AFL Nation. For McDonald's, get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef.
So still no score as we tick past 5 minutes. Grundy and Goldstein neutralise each other in the tap. Simpkin at the front of the stoppage won it. Now Higgins combines in a 1-2 game with Davies-Uniacke and then gave it back to him again. That's more direct footy from the Kangaroos. To the top of 50, it spills through hands. Noble went backwards to Moore, has a fumble. He's got Bailey Scott bearing down. In the back pocket, Maynard has to kick off a step. He had nowhere to go. He was being closed down by a tackler. He was hard against the boundary line, and North Melbourne had the wall set up. Trent Dumont marks 48 metres out.
Well, that's exactly right, Jack. And it is the double whammy, isn't it? It's the wall set up, but enough pressure on the kicker that he doesn't have time or space to do anything with it.
Only the 2 goals this year. He's having a good season for the Kangaroos, Trent Dumont. Third for disposals at the club, number 1 for tackles, and number 1 for inside 50.
25 years of age. He's matured now, isn't he? And he's an absolute regular.
Needs to kick this, and he does. All the way there for the first. Kangaroos 1 straight. Collingwood yet to score. As we tick past 6 minutes on the Tyre Power scoreboard, your trusted tyre experts. Terry Wallace on AFL Nation.
Well, it's a good start from the Kangaroos. I mean, there's been turnover city through the middle of the ground a little bit in the early stages of the game, but they've set themselves up well behind the ball, and their pressure, and this is what they did last week to Brisbane, their pressure was good. And we always sort of sat there and wondered, Brisbane will get it together. They'll get a run in 15 minutes at some stage, but North's pressure just continued all game, where they virtually got themselves to a chance of winning that particular game. So pressure good here early and deserving of the first goal.
Trent Dumont's 3rd goal of the season levels his tally from last year with 3.
And running hot for Ream. Scotty Pendlebury's up to 5 touches in the early part of this game already.
Collingwood yet to really find a key forward up there. They've got plenty of tools to aim at tonight. Cameron and Cox back in the side. I checked the one going out and Ben Reid as well last week.
Well, if you're going to have those tools, you can't have Tarrant marking the ball and sending it back the other way. It's got to come to ground at the very least.
Back in the middle for the restart. Grundy and Goldstein eyeing each other off. Awkward bounce from Ray Chamberlain. Goldstein favours him. Knocks it down to Davies Uniacke. There's Dumont again. Williams runs off the back edge of the square and bombs it long up towards left half forward. Hosey competes in the air. Moore taps it to ground. Higgins gets the crumb. It's a wobbling kick inside 50. Good pick up from Larkey. Zerha was the man, but he got taken to ground by Maynard. Chasing after it, Marnie in the left forward pockets. Noble comes in. The two smalls going shoulder to shoulder, and then everyone in piles on top.
Well, one of the things I was interested in seeing is Davies Uniacke against men. 3 touches already, started fairly well.
Ball up in the pocket. Grundy is a holding. It's going to go North Melbourne's way here to Todd Goldstein.
Yeah, we'll have a look if we get an opportunity to have a look at the car sales replay on that one.
It's a tricky angle for big Todd Goldstein. Left forward pocket, right up against the boundary. He immediately looked inboard, but he's close in enough to have a set shot. Left foot kick, it's off the side of the boot and out to the near side. A behind for North Melbourne, they're 1-1-7. Collingwood yet to score. Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts.
Just a wraparound of arms, moved him out the way, did Grundy.
It's interesting with Goldstein's grip of the Sharon there. He was halfway between a banana and a drop punt, and he ended up kicking nothing, really.
I don't think any of us had confidence.
I don't think he had confidence. As Jordan said, his eyes were darting around. He wanted to give it off. Free kick going the Pies' way at half-back. Davies Uniacke caught holding the ball. Tom Phillips, whose numbers are down. We know that players' numbers are down in total, but Phillips averaging 23 disposals last year, 16 this year. That's a significant decrease as Darcy Cameron was being held.
Yeah, just Walker just facing the ball. You're never going to get away with that.
Hands off to Dacos. Kicks into the forward pocket. McDonald looks like he's got the job on Elliott. He fists it away. Greenwood picks it up and kicks over his shoulder, but he was out of bounds before he could make contact. So the ball will come back, be 40 metres out from Collingwood's goal. They're yet to score. North Melbourne 1-1-7. Nearly 10 minutes played. Makita clock. Power means business.
Well, we've seen in so many of the recent Collingwood games is their lack of scoring. So that's the one thing that they'll want to get right tonight.
Spitwater boundary throw in, high pressure cleaners across left half forward here for the Pies. Elliott slaps it onto the boot, looking for Cameron, couldn't take the mark. Rusco was there as well. Kicked off the ground. North Melbourne gather in defence. Anderson, haphazard kick, bounces off the chest of Larkey. He should have marked it. Hosey got dragged off the kick. Collingwood take the advantage. Main gives it backwards to Varco, who then drills it in the forward 50. A convincing punch over the top from Walker sees the boundary.
It was a thump. That's got about 30 metres. So, yeah, good work by Walker. I'm a bit surprised they've actually started with Walker really as the main defender. I was sort of saying I just thought that they would trust Mackay to be that role. Obviously, they'll rotate both of them through.
Collingwood scoreless, North Melbourne 7. Reece Shaw on the car sales replay. He's standing up and just pacing around the coach's box off the ground. It was Greenwood who got a kick and he got dragged to ground. Ball bobbles around the centre square. Ahern's kick was shut down. Chasing after it, Thomas went in hard, did well. Finds a teammate in the middle in Greenwood's left foot kick, spreads the play out to Rusco at left half forward. He's got Walker chasing after him. Rusco tries to dance around Walker. He straightens up and fires inside 50, but Jed Anderson, who's played more of a half-back role to start, has cut that off again. He goes short to Luke McDonald's on the flank. Yeah,
Anderson certainly playing in the middle, but playing backwards of centre, as you sort of say, Jordan.
Walker out of fullback, up the middle to Davies Uniacke, who marks, and North Melbourne will consider their way out of defence here. Short sideways kick to McDonald's, and they'll just take their time to try and figure out their way through this Collingwood structure.
Not a lot to work with ahead, McDonald. This kick will need to be pretty precise. It was short of Tarrant, and Hoskin Elliott got in the leading lane and hit it out of bounds.
It was a strange kick, really, because it went to a 3-on-1. So, I think that's about as good a result as what they could have expected out of it.
Inside 50, 6-2 Collingwood's way, but yet to put that on the scoreboard. As Plough spoke about.
That's a bit of Collingwood's lot.
They're 12th in the competition for points for. Last year they were second in the competition going into finals. As Greenwood sweeps a handball out to Dacos near the interchange bench.
And even the 12th would be a lot off the early part of the season rather than the latter part.
His inboard kick was a good one to Roughhead. Back in the team tonight. That's a more long and direct ball. Rusco was nudged underneath it. Now Simpkin on defensive 50 for the Kangaroos. Works back by hand to Atley. Then gave it back to Simpkin, I should say. And the Kangaroos will get away from defence. Zerha the flyer, no mark taken. Madgen hard against the boundary line to Maynard, who looks back inside. Good decision to Taylor Adams.
Adams wants to go quickly. He goes with a short ball first to find Rusco. Now side bottom coming past. At the top of the 50, he'll drive this towards goal, but he shanked it. And that was an awkward floating kick out to the right side. It is Collingwood's first score. One behind. North Melbourne 1-1-7. Still side bottom, one of the stories of the week, I guess, from a negative sense for Collingwood, because looks like this will be his last outing for the Pies, perhaps indefinitely for the season. He'll head back out of the hub to be with his wife and their new kid on the way. Out of defence, North Melbourne. McDonald sends a high ball out towards Hosey, who tried to climb over Grundy. Couldn't take the mark. It bounced off his shoulder. North Melbourne getting numbers to the fall of the ball in this first quarter. Higgins, one of them. Marnie gets driven into the turf by Greenwood. It comes free to Hoskin Elliott, who sees an open goal square. It bounces on through. Walker dives. He collides with the post as well. He did get a finger to it. North Melbourne players down all around the ground. Marnie, after that hit from Greenwood. Walker rushes the behind, but he collided with the goalpost.
No, what about the tackle?
Collingwood 2 behind, North 1-1-7.
And nothing better than when you're playing against your old side to lay one of those.
He might have a jumper full of sore ribs, Jack Marnie, I reckon.
Oh, I think so.
When Levi Greenwood tackles, he generally makes an impact. That's no different.
I'm not sure whether you'd rather be Marnie, who hit Greenwood, or the post.
Either way, it's not good.
That hit Walker.
Mason Wood picks it up on the wing, pokes it out in front of Sherry, who's 55 metres out from goal, squares it up to the discipline area. Goldstein had a mismatch on Crisp. He couldn't capitalise. Davies Uniacke got a boot on. Varco at fullback was called to play on. He somehow tried to talk the umpire into that being 15 metres. Umpire told him to get on with it, and his outlet kick, not a great one.
So that's twice now that we've seen North set up well behind the ball, put pressure on, return kick, win the ball back. Last time it was a goal. We see what happens this time around.
Lachlan Hosey can finish. We've only seen him in 2 AFL games, made his debut in round 10. But coming off 21 goals in 8 games in the SANFL last year and then 20 in 10 games in the VFL after he was picked up in the mid-season draft. He's 45 metres out. He makes good of it. Good finish there. Kangaroos with a couple. And both of their goals, Terry Wallace, have come as a result of pressure.
Virtually identical. Virtually identical. Set up behind the ball, set up the wall behind the ball, but the wall behind the ball is no use whatsoever to you if the opposition are able to waltz the ball out of their back half. But they've been under pressure, the Collingwood side, so they had to kick the ball around their body indiscriminately out, and that's when the wall's perfect for you, and they've been able to make the most of it. 2 turnovers, 2 goals out of that direct area.
Good football starts with good shape, and North Melbourne are showing that in this first term. Tyre Power scoreboard, get a grip on tyre safety. Collingwood 2 behinds, North Melbourne 2-1-13.
Just a boundary update for Spitwater High Pressure Cleaners. Marnie's getting those ribs checked at the moment. They're just doing a few tests on ribs and shoulder. It looks like his shoulder's a bit crook as well.
He's wincing down there, Jack Marnie. So back in the middle for the restart.
So the original one, they were looking at his ribs, but now they're looking at his shoulder. So he has copped one heck of a hit.
How much damage can a Greenwood tackle do? Marnie's finding out. Grundy gets the tap. Davies Uniacke gets the handball, but Pendlebury ran into it. Ricochets out to Goldstein. Handball, which puts Dumont under a bit of pressure, but he sheds the crisp tackle. Woods fires out handball to Atley. Standing start, drills it inside forward 50. Flying up was Roughheads. Dropped the mark. It's cut off by Davies Uniacke, who wants to dribble the ball home, which he doesn't. There's a whistle anyway, so the score won't count. And it's coming back to Jordan Roughheads, who was felled in his marking attempts, so no score for North Melbourne. Collingwood deep in their harder defensive 50.
They're just clipped across the ear. Not too bad, but certainly there.
Shame it can't be paid as the Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the night. It was a good climb. Collingwood transition down the outer side wing. Crisp. There's Darcy Cameron. And Crisp's followed up. That's loose defending from the Kangaroos. He gets to left half forward. Good kick to the right spot. That's an old-fashioned nudge from Roscoe. Not paid. He can celebrate as good as any in the competition. And why not? Game number 4 tonight. He's kicked a goal in every game he's played bar one. He's a lively type, and Collingwood get their first. They're 1-2-8. North Melbourne 2-1-13. Good movement of the footy.
Yeah, well, you're right first up. I mean, certainly from my point of view, I didn't think Crisp should have been allowed to roll over like he was on that occasion. McDonald got the front position, got a decent shove out the way. I'm surprised it wasn't called. This one, I don't think this one was a dive. I think this one was a push.
Yep.
That's all we seem to have spoken about all weekend. But not called, and a goal from Roscoe.
Goal on the run, early contender for a goal of the day. Drinking, driving, better apart, TAC.
That's where if you play in front as a defender, you're so reliant on the umpire calling those. Because you're just completely out of the contest otherwise.
So 8 plays 13. Collingwood 1-2-8. North Melbourne 2-1-13. Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts. AFL Nation for Liquorland, always great value. Good bounce in the middle from Brendan Hosking, straight up to Grundy. Goldstein, though, comes through the middle. Another clearance. Hands off. It's driven forwards by Simpkin. Bounces off the palms of Larkey. Coming through Murphy. Gathers it well, but he kicks it poorly. Goes high up into the air. Barely travels 2 metres. Off the heads of everyone just about. Zerha was in there. Ahern gets a handball out. Adams nipped in, though, for Collingwood. He found Dacos at half-back, and then clearing kick from Crisp. Out to the wing, looking for Cameron. Slides through his hands, and then will trundle up the wing and just fade out of play on that boundary in front of the Spitwater high-pressure cleaners benches.
Running hot for Ream. Jai Simpkin up to 8 possessions now. Maynard for Collingwood's got 9.
Thrown in again. Grundy gets the tip, but it's Simpkin. Davies Uniacke bombs it forward, hoping for a target. Sherry's there, shoulder to shoulder with Madgen. Larkey gets the crumbs. Zerha's mown down by Maynard's, holding the ball.
He's had a good start to the game, Maynard.
5th in last year's best and fairest. I was sitting down having a good look at Collingwood's numbers today for the year. There's every chance to win it the way he's going, Braden Maynard.
Right up there, doesn't he?
He's been fabulous for them. In a season that's had some high highs and low lows, he's been pretty consistent. Side bottom, he's got a fight on his hands with Wood. On the wing, Anderson came crashing in, his handball jarred free. Nicely done by Ahern to win it. To the tip of 50, Maynard wrestling with Zerha out the back now. Bailey Scott got a handball free. Zerha still active around the ball. Bailey Scott likewise, but Collingwood always just seem to have that extra number at the contest there. And Varco clear from defence up to the wing. Cameron was eased out of it and slipped through the hands of Walker. And a boundary throw in. So a minute 45 to play before quarter time. North Melbourne 2-1-13. Collingwood 1-2-8 as Steel side bottom heads to the bench for NHP Electrical Products.
When that extra player, Scott Pendlebury, you normally release pretty easily.
A quarter that's travelled quickly, 21 minutes on the clock for Makita. Power through the season with Makita Power Garden. Collingwood again looking to come square into the centre circles, but Mason Wood was there this time doing the defensive duties. McDonald comes flying past, drives it up the middle. Larkey, 2-3 bites. He reckons he's got it.
I thought Ruff had a first touch of it, and I thought he had the next 3.
Ray Chamberlain spotted that as well. So a ball up at the top of the 50 for North Melbourne. 1-2-8 Collingwood. North Melbourne 2-1-13. They lead by 5. It comes out to Higgins, who from 45 metres wraps his boot around it, looking for Sherry on the line, who drops the mark. Just fell short and Sherry couldn't take the grab. And now Madgen will try and bound out of defence. Tips the ball on the ground. It's out to Main, who stops. Handball up to Will Hoskin Elliott. Well, they're playing themselves into trouble here as Roscoe gets caught on the ball. Ed Vickers-Willis gets it back, and now it's Robbie Tarrant on the wing.
Still got plenty of time. We've got a minute to play. It's a dangerous kick inboard. Hosey was good. Handballed in the air to Goldstein. Dispossessed as soon as he got it. Adams laying the tackle there, and he lays a secondary one on Dumont. Ball up.
the Hosey hand pass to Goldstein wasn't that great, but his effort to win the ball and keep it in that area was really important.
Tackles 16-2 in this opening quarter. Collingwood's way. The intent is there. Just got to cash in on the scoreboard when they get their chance. Main went without it. Pendlebury gave it up by hand. Murphy will kick to a 2-on-2 inside the forward region. Roughhead read it best and fisted it away. Got it away from the immediate area. Back to Murphy, where it all started. And he puts it back to the exact same spot. Gee, the fly was there for Sherry. He had a very good look at that one and couldn't mark. And Adams pinpoints Brodie Grundy. Have the Pies got time? Phillips with 10 seconds goes wide to Elliott. He's got to turn and go.
Too wide.
He pops it over the top for Hoskin Elliott, who allows it to bounce, and time will beat them. The Kangaroos take a lead into quarter time. It's an arm wrestle, this one. They're 2-1-13. Goals coming through Trent Dumont and Lachlan Hosey. And for Collingwood, they are 1-2-8. Their single goal kicker is Trey Rusco. All that on the Tyre Power scoreboard, your trusted tyre experts. It's Monday night footy, the last game of round 13. And at quarter time, with thanks to Liquorland, always great value. It's the Kangas by 5 points on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Tyre Power, your wet weather tyre experts.
A grandpa carrying a folded newspaper. A ute with paint cans in the tray. A little kid not looking where she's walking.
You could miss a lot if you glance at your phone while driving. When you're on your phone, you're driving blind. TAC.
So you want a furphy? It's back in 82. Burrows were down by 6. Right on the siren. The mark of the match. 60 metres out. But he booted that ball so hard it split like an old shoe. The leather went through for 6. But the bladder sailed through for an extra point. And that's how I kicked a 7-pointer to win the match. There's your furphy. Unbelievable.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game.
Collingwood fans, now's the time. Join the virtual Magpie Army by becoming a Magpie Insider member today. Receive exclusive member content and club updates from the club and discounts on merchandise. Head to membership.collingwoodfc.com.au to sign up. Go Pies!
Up at the crack of dawn and home after dark. My old man never stopped. If he wasn't sleeping, he was working. There's 2 things you don't ever want to skip on, he told me. A good mattress and an even better pair of boots. If Blunston were good enough to look after him on the job for over 40 years, that's good enough for me.
Blunston Boots. Built tough, trusted for generations.
Hi, Jack Revolt here. I get to kick goals on the footy field for a living, and you can kick career goals in any field. Study at Swinburne University of Technology. Swinburne's range of flexible bachelor degrees means you can change your course along the way as you uncover your true destiny. And jump into Swintopia, the virtual world giving you an unrestricted taste of the adventure that awaits at Swinburne. Swintopia, Swinburne's open world experience. Search swinburne.edu.au/Swintopia.
Here's an important announcement from Budget. If you're an essential service and you need a truck to help you do your work, Budget Truck Rentals are open for business. Emergency services of all kinds, health providers, deliveries, you're helping to keep Australia moving, and we thank you. We're all in this together, and we're here for you. Head to budgettrucks.com.au or just give us a ring. Budget Trucks, helping you keep Australia moving.
If you're stumped on what to give this Father's Day, that product is Paint Pot Pro, the ultimate painter's aid. It's packed with painting tools, awesome features, and makes painting on ladders so much safer for Dad. PaintPotPro.com.
Hang my TV. Only 3 more weeks of lockdown to go, and the other half is you doing everything. Lawn, gutters, painting. But what about the TV? Still on an old cabinet? Call 1300 Hang My TV, and when stage 4 is over, Hang My TV will warm out your TV. We'll even tell the wife that you did it. Stay safe and book now on hangmytv.com.au. Hang My TV, that's what we do.
Tyre Power store-wide super sale gives you the power to save on a huge range of big brands like Kumho tyres. Right now at Tyre Power, you get the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Kumho passenger car and SUV tyres. Plus many more super savings store-wide at Tyre Power. Canstar Blues Customer Satisfaction Award winner again. Tyre Power store-wide super sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and liquor land. Always great value.
It was hard against the boundary line, and North Melbourne had the wall set up. Trent Dumont marks 48 metres out.
25 years of age. He's matured now, isn't he? And he's an absolute regular.
Needs to kick this, and he does. All the way there for the first. Farko at fullback was called to play on. He somehow tried to talk the umpire into that being 15 metres. Lachlan Hosey in the VFL after he was picked up in the mid-season draft. He's 45 metres out. He makes good of it. Good finish there. Kangaroos with a couple. Good kick to the right spot. That's an old-fashioned nudge from Roscoe. Not paid. He can celebrate as good as any in the competition. And why not?
Highlights for the TAC. Drinking and driving, they're just better apart. TAC.
Quarter time on Monday Night Footy. It's North Melbourne who lead 2-1-13 to Collingwood 1-2-8. The opening bounce not too far away for Tyre Power. Your wet weather experts on the road. It is the last match of round number 13. Round 14 it boots up with a double-header on Thursday night. Hawthorn and Essendon to kick things off at the Adelaide Oval, and then Richmond and the West Coast Eagles at Metricon Stadium. Terry Wallace is our expert tonight. Plough, what have you made of the opening quarter?
Well, I thought the Roos started very, very well. Kicked both their goals from forward pressure and turnovers, so that was pleasing for them. I think the Pies still seem to be struggling with system going into their forward structure. I'm doubtful that the two ruck forward combo can work for them. When I have a look at it, they've had 11 inside 50s. 8 of the 11, so they scored 3 times. 8 of the 11 have been returned out of there, and they haven't laid a tackle in that area. My biggest concern is Tarrant's had 7 possessions, 5 marks already in the first quarter. So what happens is Tarrant's playing on whoever's the highest of those rucks. Most of the time that's been Cameron, so they've allowed Walker to take the deeper one, and Tarrant just sort of pays scant respect to that bloke who's playing a little bit higher and just goes back and fills the hole, and he's been able to just mark it and send it back the other direction. So Collingwood have got to get that part of their game right. Maynard a really good start to the game. Pendlebury and Simpkin have started well, but when you're looking at it, they've got to find a way to get around Tarrant, Collingwood, if they're going to get the result.
And of those 11 entries, 5 turnovers within their forward 50 as well. So, Player, you're talking about how easily it's going out. Well, part of that reason is that they are turning it over inside their own forward area.
Well, and that's exactly right. And that is Tarrant reading it and being able to pick it off.
When you've got an extra tall in defence, it always helps as well. They've got Walker and Mackay who can end up taking the aerial contest, and then Tarrant just peels off.
Yeah, he's just whoever's going to be high, and we've got Mackay now on Cox as we speak. Whoever's high up the ground, Tarrant just says, "I'll take that one. I'll keep a little bit of an eye, but I'm just going back and filling the hole about 30 metres out."
So Collingwood have done a lot of their best work this year in first quarters. They're 8 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, and plus 108. And they trail at quarter time. That's good news if you're a Kangaroos supporter. Monday Night Footy for McDonald's. Get into Macca's tonight for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef. Elliott with the first extraction out of the middle for the Pies. He kicked it to half forward. Hoskin Elliott ran past it. Josh Thomas arrives on the scene. Handballing to Main, to Adams at left half forward. He slipped over, went back to Main, and he'll go backwards to Maynard, who was called to play on, and he does exactly that. Kicks it into the night lights. Thought I heard a whistle somewhere, but nothing doing. Atley cleanly for North Melbourne. Chips a pass to Anderson. Now it's out of bounds, and
then we didn't hear a whistle. I don't know what was going on there.
Then we didn't hear one for a while. Either way, it's a throw-in, 65 metres around from Collingwood's goals. They kick to the Wollongabba end in this second quarter.
Ball thrown in, near sides. Goldstein got the hand to it, looking for Higgins. Grundy came through. He wraps up Bailey Scott, taken to grounds. And the umpire comes in and says, let's ball it up.
Well, first halves have been a bit of a worry for Collingwood over the last month, remembering that they've had 3 where they've only scored 2 goals in the first half. So they've got to get this second quarter right, the Magpies.
Grundy guides it down to Thomas, who had a kick smothered by Adams. Teammate smothered his own kick. It's a free kick coming back here to North Melbourne. Mason Wood spread the play out to the near side. A bit heavy for Goldstein. Goes over his heads. Larkey's in the area. Higgins fires a handball onto Goldstein. Now Larkey goes running down the wing, and he dummies around Maynard as well. That was nice. Larkey kicks inside 50. The kick's not so nice. Comes down to Dumont, though, who'll hook the kick towards the jaws of goal, but it cuts out to the left and takes a turn for the behind.
Just didn't get a good strike on it, Dumont, did he? I mean, there was a real chance there because the 2 Collingwood players, it was Moore that spoiled Crisp, who was certainly going to mark the ball.
1-2-8 Collingwood, North Melbourne, 2-2-14 for Repco authorised service.
Darcy Moore heads with a long kick to Maynard. He marks it half back. Now Elliott handballs to Magin on the way through, and he breaks through the centre square. His target was Thomas. He may have got one high from Vickers Willis. Play on the call. And Vickers Willis has got it back again. He looks, it's okay to Dumont. He'll hold it up at half-back. Just watching on the car sales replay, Josh Thomas probably had a case to argue there for high contact.
Absolutely. I think of the 2 ruckmen, I would sort of say at the moment, Goldie's just had the better of the duel.
Higgins went to McDonald and then gave it back to Higgins. A strange piece of play. Higgins eventually hoisted up the line. Larkey had a good look at it, no mark. Adams tackled by Simpkin, broadcast wing. Adams is fighting. He's in a headlock from Jai Simpkin. And then thrown to the ground. That's a suplex. No free kick.
The only thing
Pretty strange passage of play, that one.
The only thing you can possibly say is that it was on the wrong side for the umpire to be able to see it. If he can't see it, he can't call it. But it was absolutely a headlock.
Well, was there 2? There was a headlock and also the sling tackle double movement.
Correct.
So it was,
exactly. He was very lucky.
Yeah, doubly. Chris Mayne has it at half-back. Collingwood's trying to get it out of their defensive half, but the kick to try and bomb it out from Roughhead got a tip on the way through. Only travels about 10 metres.
Pendlebury Smart didn't take possession of the ball. So Zerha thought he had it when he never ever had it.
Committed the foul. Varco up the middle. He'll kick it up towards centre-half forward, but it's a poor kick which bounces up on through. Williams around the body. North Melbourne trying to mount something on the outer sides. They've got a couple of numbers moving forward, but Collingwood have more retreating in defence, so Anderson has to stop and wait for a runner, which he does get on the outside through Attlee, and that kick's that's a shocking one. It's a wonky kick out towards left half forward. It bounces out of play. It might have actually gone out of bounds on the full. It was that close to the boundary. 1-2-8. 2-2-14 the score. North Melbourne leading by a goal for Repco authorised service. It will be a throw in.
They've had their even share of the ball, the Kangaroos. They're going all right at the moment.
Goldstein punches it down. Anderson's had a lot of clearances. It's a high kick skied to the goal square. Moore in a bind. He pats it down. Dacos is there in the back pocket. Collingwood trying to get it out of their defensive half. Dumont wants to keep it locked in, which he does. Stops in the 50. North Melbourne, although find out a handball here to Goldstein, who from 45 will have a pot shot towards goal, but kicks it out of bounds on the full.
He had to get himself organised on his left side. Goldie hasn't really got a right boot, and by the time he sort of got the ball across to his left, he was just squeezed with a kick.
Boundary update for Spitwater High Pressure Cleaners. Jack Marnie looks like he's ready to go again, which is good news. He was crunched in the first quarter in a big Levi Greenwood tackle. All fair and all legal if you've just joined us. Certainly left a bit of a mark on him all the same. Dacos at half-back. Clever underground handball to Josh Thomas. Turned around and headed to the wing. Good mark, Marley Williams.
Excellent mark.
Used his body wisely against Elliott.
Another one against his old team. You always want to do well.
68 games as a Pipe. He goes further towards the boundary line. Attlee thought about a short option, instead decided to go longer to half forward. Larkey's got a tough night ahead of him against Moore, but he created a contest. Mason Wood gave it to Bailey Scott, then Zerha. He stepped through the first tackle, but then he was stripped by Mayne. Good defensive play, and Collingwood should survive. Magin pokes a pass on defensive 50 to Hoskin Elliott.
She's a forward hand pass. Could have got Zerha killed if it was a slighter player, but he's nice and strong.
Horror kick from Hoskin Elliott. He tried to square it up across half-back, and Bailey Scott read it before Varco did.
It's a poor kick. And Bailey Scott is a good kick for goal. I mean, this is a real opportunity for Kangaroos.
And it's from a good spot as well.
That's a terrible kick. I mean, there was two Collingwood players there, but just really poor.
Scored last week, Bailey Scott. There's a couple of goals to his name this season. From right half forward, 45-degree angle. Plenty of the goal face to aim at. Doesn't even reach the goal line. Falls about 2 metres short and was tracking out to the left anyway. Would have been a behind. But Collingwood prevent even that. And they come out to Varco on the flank, who drives it down to the wing. It's a hard contest from Mackay, who collides with Moore, who stays on the ground. Side bottom chases the loose footy, sockers it out of the air. They've got some space here, Collingwood, if they can find the runners, and they do. Thomas goes sprinting into the 50. He can size it up, and he can kick the goal. Josh Thomas on the run brings the game level. 2-2, 14 apiece. It's the first time Collingwood have really been able to stretch North Melbourne.
And a TAC drink driving, better apart goal of the day contender. It's a hard goal when you're on the run, full ball, full stretch, have to step across your body with someone chasing you. Yeah, maybe it was Goldie chasing him, but still being chased out the whole way to be able to just balance yourself off to kick the goal. Very, very good. They wouldn't have got that goal without Sidey's smarts. Just that ability to kick the ball off the ground, to keep it going past the defensive group that were just in front of him. Smart play.
Josh Thomas.
Nice goal.
Only his second goal of the year.
Is that right?
Yeah, kicked one against Adelaide in round 11, kicked 22 goals last year.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I know he's lost his spot in the side at stages this year, but...
Chris Mayne comes to the bench. He's got some blood coming out of the side of his head for NHB Electrical Products, available at a wholesaler near you.
Any injury above the shoulders doesn't count, so it's all right. Just wipe the blood off and get that out there.
Yes. Just like you used to in that article that Robbo wrote. That was a good article, that one.
Give me a spell.
Monday night footy for Liquorland, always great value. And Australia here on AFL Nation. Varco off half-back. Tried to make the footy his own, but Marnie got involved. Good contest. Dumont fires a handball to Marnie. Then Jed Anderson on 50. The short kick works out. Bailey Scott takes an excellent mark in the pack.
In front, well played.
35 metres out directly in front.
I only found out one thing about that article. I talk too much. Now, let's see if Bailey Scott can get this one right. I mean, the last one certainly was disappointing. As I sort of said, normally reasonably reliable, but we sort of see when you have those nights, you can have those nights.
Kicked 3 goals in round 8 against Carlton. His kicking boot was on that day, and his kicking boot's on now. Good signs for the Kangaroos. They get the immediate answer. Collingwood had to really toil for theirs, and North get one back less than 2 minutes later. They're 3-2-20. Collingwood 2-2-14. All of that on the Repco authorised service scoreboard. For expert car service you can rely on, visit repcoservice.com.
I've got to say, I was surprised when they took him out of the side, Bailey Scott, for a period of time there, because I just think that he's easily good enough to really persevere with and get games into.
It's a good mark he took as well. He can mark that one down for Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the day.
I thought Ahern's kick was excellent as well, because he was squeezed by 3 Collingwood players. A lot of players wouldn't have got that kick crossing out of the area.
AFL Nation from McDonald's getting to Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef.
Yeah, you're right. It was just having a look at the car sales replay. Nice contested mark, wasn't it?
So back out to that 1-goal lead, North Melbourne. 20 plays 14 at the Gabba, final game of Sir Douglas Nicholls rounds. North Melbourne wearing their away strip, predominantly white, which used to be their home strip. Ball back in the middle. Sherry doing the ruck work this time. It was a spinning handball from Adams and then punched further inside 50. The Pies go. It's come out to Cameron, side bottom, finds himself in a spotted bother. Pendlebury shrugs off one tackle, standing at the 50, kicks into the goal square, but it just drops short. Cox was the man back there, but Mackay out-muscled Cox in the contest and takes a nice mark at full back.
Well, that's the disappointment with Mason Cox so far. Not only has he not taken the marks, which you can accept that it's going to take him a while to get in the action, but his direct opponents are taking the marks against him.
But Ben Mackay, as Jordan said, has the job in the second quarter. He's progressing okay in his new life as a defender. He was drafted as a forward. Brother Harry certainly taking some big strides forward this year at Carlton. Davies Uniacke at half-back. Dangerous kick into the centre square. Taken by Dacos for the Pies. Wobbly one that falls short of Cox. And Mackay, I think it may have been touched on the way through. Gave it off to Walker, who kicked it fair into the back of his teammate Vickers Willis. And it'll be a Collingwood throw in. Left forward pocket.
Bit fortuitous that time from a Collingwood point of view. At least they got the ball locked in their end.
Coming up to 12 minutes played, Makita clock when power means business. It's the Kangaroos by 6 points.
Left forward pocket, ball to be thrown in. A bit short, so Grundy has to sprint after it. Cherry tailing behind. Sinking out the back, though, gathers the crumb, and then Anderson sinks the boot into it and gets it into the centre square. Varco this time the spoil to punch it back inside 50, so it stays in the middle. Marnie crumbs it up. Zerha works a handball sideways to Atley, standing on true centre wing, far side of the grounds. Gets it onto his right boot and kicks it long inside forward 50. Moore takes the mark and then takes off. His kick, though, gets smothered, never left the 50. North Melbourne can turn it around. They can have a shot at goal, but a rush of blood to the heads. Had a bit more time than he realised, did young Lockie Hosey. And he realises it as well, claps his hands in frustration and just registers a minor score. 2-2 plays 3-3. North Melbourne a 7-point lead. For expert car service you can rely on, visit repcoservice.com, the second quarter scoreboard.
Gee, that was a lost opportunity.
He won't get many better than that tonight, I'd imagine. Lockie Hosey, good grab taken by Grundy.
Yeah, better work.
From the kick in. He's certainly, they've had a bit longer break. They had the best part of 7.5 days to recover. He looked very tired as part of that 4 games in 14 days for Collingwood.
Absolutely. Well, he does the bulk of the work too, doesn't he?
It's Greenwood through the middle of the Gabba, grubs his kick to side bottom at centre half forward, got rid of Anderson in the tackle, handball to Hoskin Elliott, who wasn't clean in his pickup. It's off hands now. Marley Williams on the very last line to Walker with a foot inside the goal square, gave it to Higgins. He'll have to be quick and kicks around the corner. That is outstanding.
Good work, isn't it?
Kicking on the run with a tackler bearing down. He kicks over his body to Jed Anderson, and that'll be 50. The kick had travelled the required distance for Bailey Scott. Rusco didn't think that it had. He tried to lay a tackle, and instead North Melbourne moved the footy up quickly.
They've handled most things that have come their way in defence, and now they can go inside 50 North Melbourne, and they can find a marking target in Zerha. Leading out on the angle into the right forward pocket.
That's really poor play. The Rusco situation, give away 50 metres. You stand there arguing with the umpire while the ball's travelled 70 metres further up the ground. You haven't moved from the spot that you were first on. So not only did he make one mistake, he made 2 errors.
Cam Zerha, 2 goals last week, getting himself back on the score sheet. He goes with the banana this time in the right forward pocket, and it wasn't far away either. Started out wide and bent back late, but hit the left upright just across the face. 2-2-14, 3-4-22 North Melbourne.
He's important. He really is. Zerha, like the last game against Brisbane, he was the one right at the end that nearly turned the game.
Had the chance to win it, didn't he?
He did.
Good sloppy from Hoskin Elliott. Kicked it off the ground and completely missed it. Sherry crumbs it. Up to centre half forward. Scott's in there again. He's taken the ground this time, but out of the 50, he is running hot for Ream. Installer Ream, Australia's #1 in hot water. Bailey Scott gets locked up. Thrown up at centre half forward. Cameron takes it straight out of the ruck and then gets stripped off it. Anderson hammers it towards full forwards. Moore beats his opponent Larkey and then gathers the loose footy. Rough heads, handball off to Chris. We can go for a bounce. Wants to go journeying down the near side wing. A second bounce. He's got 2 opponents to his inside. He wants to burn them both. Now he runs into a dead end and handballs backwards to Dacos on the left back flank, who spins away smartly and finds Adams. And now Collingwood want to use the corridor. Into the middle for Greenwood. And kick it sideways. That sideways kick just takes a bit of momentum out of it. Main back on the field with a headband on.
He only lost half his ear. That's nothing too bad for Chris Main.
Squaring kick to Phillips. Standing long at centre half forward. Drills it to full forward. Cox had hands to it, couldn't take the mark. And Ahern lies on top of the ball at full forward for the Pies.
But at least that's better. At least you get a contest. We've now got a ball up about 15, 20 metres from goals. You've got an opportunity of scoring.
So thrown up at full forwards. Cameron down. Rusco lost it. Ahern squeezes it out. Dacos will cut it off 30 metres out. Slaps it onto the boot. It's a spiralling kick towards goal. Every Dacos can do the remarkable. He got hit as he kicks. He's a bit sore, but it's a great goal. Collingwood 3-2-20. North Melbourne 3-4-22. Again, another goal on the crumb for the Pies.
Sensational goal. TAC, drink driving, better apart. Goal of the day contender, no doubt. Round his body. Beautiful, quick pick-up. And that's gone still 40 metres around your body. That's not an easy kick to do. And Jed Anderson coming 100 miles at him the other way around, opened himself up to get hit by making sure that he kicked the goal first and made him get a harder hit down the middle. But Cox competes for the ball. All of a sudden we get a ball up, we get an opportunity to set up a wall behind the play from a Collingwood point of view, and they get a goal out of it. The difference between the first 30 minutes of play where it's been North Melbourne mark, send it out time and time and time again, versus at least get a contest, be able to have a structure that creates a goal for Collingwood, much, much better.
In a low-scoring game, that might be our Furphy unbelievable moment of the first half. Furphy refreshing ale, unbelievable. Grundy tapped it forward, charging it off centre half forward himself was Greenwood.
It's a bit sad that unbelievable that they got a contest.
That's exactly right, yeah. Demont will get a free kick for a high tackle. He goes to the outer side wing as Marley Williams. 4 minutes before half-time. The Kangaroos by 2 points. Williams kicks to centre half back. Josh Walker was in the air for a long time, meant that Darcy Cameron could get a hand on the play, and Collingwood have got a chance to push forward here. Appleby not sure what to do. His handball wasn't good for Adams, who stood up in the tackle and did it nicely. Noble will have to kick quickly and unfortunately didn't do that. Wood stood under it, dispossessed by Maynard. This footy's become hot all of a sudden. Chris busts through the middle. On the lead, Mason Cox. He's put it on his chest. His teammates have done everything they can to bring him in. And now it's in the hands of the Oklahoma State native to do his bit for his team.
Lifted Collingwood, no doubt the intensity levels have lifted through the middle of the ground. Great work again by Maynard. What about the bone crutcher in the middle of the ground? Just crushed him.
Haven't seen him at the top level since round 6. There'll be nerves going through his mind as he kicks this footy. But he casts them all aside and he kicks a big goal for his team. They flood to him as well. Collingwood hit the front for the first time tonight. And that is a big, big moment for Mason Cox and a big one for Collingwood. They lead by 4 points. Repco authorised service scoreboard.
Yeah, it was really good work, wasn't it? They did it very, very well. Just if you're going to go through the central corridor, you're going to have to be very, very clean, and they weren't able to do that. As I mentioned, Maynard's tackle really sort of set it up. Running from the back line, crisp. Greenwood was able to give it to him. Crisp lowered his eyes. Really nice. Nice work.
Very important goal for Collingwood. They've trailed all games so far. North Melbourne scoring the early first goal. And the first time, as Jack said, they've hit the front. 4-point lead for the Pies for EPCO authorised service this second term. AFL Nation for Liquorland, always great value. That'll get him some confidence. Bit of push and shove. North Melbourne defenders. A few little slight drive-bys as they all mill around that 50. Back in the middle. It's Goldstein and Grundy. Goldie gets it down. Anderson overran the footy, so Grundy then tries to work it off to Adams. There's an infringement in the middle as Sidebottom wants to dart away with it, but it will come back and be North Melbourne's.
Against Adams to Anderson.
Long kick right down the middle to full forwards. Moore positioning himself underneath it, but Hosey gets it out the back. Looking for a handball coming past, it never came. Ahern was the closest one there, but Main was even closer. Varco out the side to Crisp. Through left half back, he spreads the play out. It's a good kick to find Cameron.
He's had some important moments, Crisp, of recent times.
Defensive side of the wing, Darcy Cameron. High up the grounds. He guides it down to find Grundy, who marks and handballs immediately to Sidebottom. Right foot kick is worked towards half forward. Elliott almost got in the way. Rusco, but Elliott took the mark and then he'll square it up towards Cox again, but McDonald was the third man in and he floated across the back and takes the intercept grab for North.
He leads too early, Mason Cox. What he does is, as soon as the player gets the ball, he starts his lead. You shouldn't start your lead until the bloke actually looks up towards you.
There's a lot of conversation as Moore spikes it towards Collingwood's goal. Davies Uniacke was clean and cool in a crisis as Higgins against the boundary line. We'll come back to that play in a second. He's kicked only as far, though, as Darcy Moore, who marks uncontested on the wing. There's a school of thought that he runs himself under the footy, but is that all part of going too early? You've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think as soon as he sees his player get the ball, he thinks that's my cue to actually go. Well, no, it's not. You've almost got to count to 2 or 3 before you go.
He plays from behind there. Contest was good enough for Pendlebury. Spun. Shimmy to handball away to Phillips. 45 metres out. Tucked away in the pocket. Outstanding finish. Pendlebury did all of the grunt work, attracted the crowd and got it free to Phillips, and he held up his end of the bargain.
Might be a really nice point.
Let's have a score review here. Was it touched? Oh, it may have been touched by Marley Williams. Drinkwise, never miss a game-changing moment. Oh, it's hard to tell from there. Someone needs to wipe the camera.
Mate, it's just a blur. How can you tell?
Yeah, on your iPhone, sometimes how it's a bit... you just got to give it a quick little wipe on your pants or your jacket or something like that. What's this tell us?
A bit oily. By the time the ball drops over the line and Marley Williams' hands gets to it, it's just a blur.
Well, the problem is we don't know that he's touched it there.
Yeah.
If he's touched it at that point,
it's a point.
It's a point.
Correct. But it's just hard to tell, isn't it?
If he's touched it at all.
Let's see.
I got a feeling they might call this a point.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Gee, there was a big build-up for the goal of the day.
Unfortunately, it's not there. Pies are really starting to run hot for Ream now. They've got a minute before half-time. They'd love to get one more.
TAC, point of the night.
Not sure they're paying money for points, Plough.
They'll try and go back inside here, the Pies. North Melbourne is squeezing them out of half forward. They've flushed them all the way back down to the wing. That's good defensive work from North Melbourne, but I think Adams copped a bit too heavy of a hit.
Hit high. It's just a knee, just an errant knee from Davies Uniacke. No intention in it, but just a bit awkward.
All that good territorial work from North Melbourne pushed Collingwood back to the wing. It'll come straight back though. So Adams takes off the mark and drills it towards centre half forward. Grundy's underneath it, flies over his head. Cameron can gather on the bounce, but his handball's a shocker. Travelled half a metre and found Bailey Scott. Marley Williams is retreating across half back and wants a runner coming past down his left shoulder. Gets it. Higgins up the line to Scott. A dainty kick down the boundary. He's found Larkey, who takes the mark on the chest. There's just enough time for North Melbourne to mount something here.
We just got a car sales, We Love Cars replay. A proper replay showed it touched.
There you go.
Kicked down from Larkey, punched over and then kicked over the sideline. A boundary throw in left forward pocket.
It certainly wasn't the film that we watched over that period of time, so I don't know why we didn't get to see that in the first place, but that one was very clear and showed that the ball was touched.
Last play of the first half coming up. Boundary throw in left forward pocket for North. They trail by 5. Grundy over the top. Simpkin, if he'd gathered, he might have had a snap, but the ball hits the deck. It won't move. And the siren sounds to end the first half. The final game of round 13 to Douglas Nicholls rounds. And Collingwood's at the main change, lead by 5 points. North Melbourne scored the opening goals of this game, 2-1 in the first quarter. And then Collingwood in that term scored 3-1 to take the advantage for the first time tonight at the ends. Mason Cox gets on the scoreboard in that term, as did Dacos. and Josh Thomas for Collingwood, while Bailey Scott for North Melbourne scored their goal. So at the main break, Collingwood 4-3-27, North Melbourne 3-4-22. AFL Nation for McDonald's, get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef, and for Liquorland, always great value.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Repco Authorised Service. For expert car service you can rely on, visit repcoservice.com.au.
A grandpa carrying a folded newspaper. A ute with paint cans in the tray. A little kid not looking where she's walking.
You could miss a lot if you glance at your phone while driving. When you're on your phone, you're driving blind. TAC.
So you want a furphy? It's back in 82. Burrows were down by 6. Right on the siren. That mark of the match. 60 metres out. But he booted that ball so hard it split like an old shoe. The leather went through for 6. But the bladder sailed through for an extra point. And that's how I kicked a 7-pointer to win the match. There's your furphy.
Unbelievable.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game.
Collingwood fans, now's the time. Join the virtual Magpie Army by becoming a Magpie Insider member today. Receive exclusive member content and club updates from the club and discounts on merchandise. Head to membership.collingwoodfc.com.au to sign up. Go Pies!
What's the one tool you rely on from the minute you step on site all the way to the end of play? Taking on well over 10,000 kilos of pressure each and every day, there isn't a tradie alive who doesn't trust them to make sure they get home safe and sound. They're boots. And if they're Blunston boots, then you're standing in almost 150 years of hard work and industrial evolution, designed to keep you working without even knowing they're there.
Blunston boots. Built tough, trusted for generations.
Hi, Jack Revolt here. I get to kick goals on the footy field for a living, and you can kick career goals in any field. Study at Swinburne University of Technology. Swinburne's range of flexible bachelor degrees means you can change your course along the way as you uncover your true destiny. And jump into Swintopia, the virtual world giving you an unrestricted taste of the adventure that awaits at Swinburne. Swintopia, Swinburne's open world experience. Search swinburne.edu.au/Swintopia.
Chasing, it's your time to win. Pacing, when your number comes in. Racing, the place to be. SEN Track 1593.
Melbourne's newest radio station is off and racing. SEN Track 1593 AM.
SEN Track, it's the new sound of chasing, pacing and racing.
1593 AM.
SEN Track.
Join in the fun and banter today. SEN Track 1593 AM.
Feelings of uncertainty, isolation and loneliness can pose enormous strain on our mental health. That's why it's more important than ever to reach out to loved ones, ask them how they're going, and then listen now. Dairy farmer Joe McGeito explains.
That's the message we're trying to get across, is that it's okay to have that breakdown and talk about it, open it up to somebody, because that's what one of the first steps for me was, is to break down and cry my head off in bed when my wife come to bed. So she knew I wasn't right. She knew I wasn't, 100%, and, I'd come home a little bit moody or something like that.
Hashtag Listen Now Week for Suicide Awareness, an initiative by Tobin Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives. Watch the full video at tobinbrothers.com.au. If you're struggling, call Lifeline Australia 13 11 14.
State Transport, our people are your solution.
Albert here at State Transport and Warehousing. We have a huge fleet delivering locally and all around Australia. We are certified and quality assured. Try us to experience the difference. Our people really are the solution.
State Transport, our people are your solution.
Head to statetransport.com.au.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef. And Liquorland, always great value.
The bottom chases the loose footy, sockers it out of the air. They've got some space here, Collingwood, if they can find the runners, and they do. Thomas goes sprinting into the 50. He can size it up, and he can kick the goal. Josh Thomas on the run brings the game level. 2-2-14 apiece. It's the first time Collingwood have really been able to stretch North Melbourne. Thrown up, full forwards. Cameron down, Rusco lost it. Ahern squeezes it out. Dacos will cut it off, 30 metres out, slaps it onto the boot. It's a spiralling kick towards goal. Every Dacos can do the remarkable. He got hit as he kicks. He's a bit sore, but it's a great goal.
Hot all of a sudden. Chris busts through the middle. On the lead, Mason Cox. He's put it on his chest. Haven't seen him at the top level since round 6. There'll be nerves going through his mind as he kicks this footy. But he casts them all aside and he kicks a big goal for his team. They flood to him as well.
Highlights for the TAC, like ice cream and vinegar or cutlery and meat pies. Some things just don't go together. Drinking, driving, they're better apart. TAC.
First half highlights for the TAC, drinking and driving, they're just better apart. TAC, this is AFL Nation for Maccas and for Liquorland. At half-time, Collingwood 4-3-27, leading North Melbourne by 5 points, 3-4-22, a 10-point swing from the first to the second terms. It's the half-time floor show for the Choices Flooring Inspiring Choices 2020 magazine.
The Choices Flooring Halftime Show. Create a healthier home with Breeze Carpet from Choices Flooring.
Choices Flooring are giving away the ultimate VIP Grand Final experience. You and a mate could experience all the hype of Grand Final week firsthand, then be at the big match itself, the 2020 or 2021 Toyota AFL Grand Final. Head to iCanWin.com.au to enter now. Jordan Canellis with you, Plough, Terry Wallace with me at halftime, Jack Heverin as well. Terry, the first half, it was North Melbourne who got the early start, led by 5 points at quarter time, but 3 goals for the Pies there, and they were able to get themselves into the rhythm of the match in the second term.
Yeah, they were. I thought their pressure through the middle of the ground and from the back half, guys like Maynard and Chris, particularly bone crunchers with tackles, attacking the ball with vigour, was able to turn the ball back their way. And when they actually started to get their big blokes at least competing, so we had Mason Cox lead up, take a mark. We had another one where he actually contested and hit the pack, and they got a ball up out of that. They got a goal out of that. So they got a couple of goals out of just being able to contest the ball, where in the first quarter, that ball went in and it was marked by North Melbourne and turned back the other direction. Look, there's not much in the game. When you have a look at the opposites in the way that the scores have gone, 2-1 to 1-2 in the first quarter, 1-3 to 3-1 in the second quarter, has us with a 3-4, 4-3 scoreline at this stage. So, I mean, it's only just been which side's been marginally cleaner going forward or a little more accurate going forward. That's been about the only difference between the two sides at this stage. So we've got a fairly entertaining game on our hands at the moment.
Yeah. Has this been a more structurally sound North Melbourne than what we've seen so far this season?
I think so. I think that certainly in that first quarter they got a couple of their goals from the fact that they were able to push up, set up their defensive mechanisms behind the ball and put enough pressure on Collingwood coming out of the defensive end of the ground where they were able to turn the ball back over and kick goals from that. I think the attack from Collingwood, where they really did charge the ball down in that second quarter, had the ball rebounding a lot quicker, so it was a lot more difficult for North to set up their defensive structures when you got blokes really beelining the ball, as Crisp on a couple of occasions and Maynard has done for the whole half.
Do you reckon we'll see more of that in the second half? Will the game stretch open a bit more?
I think it will, but I think it will take time. So notoriously what happens is you go back in, everyone goes back and plays a more defensive aspect of game at the start of the third quarter. So it doesn't always happen. You have the Bulldogs the other day that just went bang, 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 come out and kick goals at rapid fire. But my gut feel will be we'll have a bit of an arm wrestle for the first 10 minutes and then it'll start to break open. That last 10 or 12 minutes was really entertaining football because it started to flow through the middle of the ground and there were some really good passages.
Let's see where we are at half-time. Key matchups of the first half for Coates Hire. Whatever you need, Coates Hire can make it happen. All the intrigue was around the tools and the rucks and the tall defence of North Melbourne. The midfield's actually been all right as well. Haven't minded Jed Anderson, his role in midfield, but the matchups for you, Terry Wallace?
Yeah, well, you've named them all. So the three that I thought were the main key matchups was North tall backs, whoever went with whichever one, and they did rotate it on occasions, versus the Pies forwards. Absolute guaranteed North Melbourne tick first quarter. Absolutely slaughtered their Pies forwards. Pies forwards come back into their own a little bit in that quarter. So I had marginally North ahead. The rucks, which I couldn't wait for the duel of the rucks, it's been a non-event. It really has been a non-event. If you have a look at it, Goldie's had more hit-outs, 14 to 8. Grundy's had more marks, 3 marks to 0. They're about even. If I had to give a point, I'd give it marginally to Goldie, but not really anything of any significance at all. And the other one was Anderson and Adams. I've been matched up most of the time. 16 possessions, Anderson, very, very good. Adams, 13, not bad in his own right. So that's been a pretty good duel as well.
The Furphy unbelievable moment for the Furphy Refreshing Ale, born in Geelong, unbelievable. There weren't too many from the first quarter, but a couple of nice goals in the second.
Yeah, well, we had a bit of fun with it. Unbelievable was that they could actually, the big forwards for Collingwood could actually compete and bring the ball to ground. But the unbelievable moment was another Dacos magic moment. We think of Furphy and we think of unbelievable. We think of Dacos, we think of unbelievable. It was a beautiful goal.
Absolutely fantastic goal. He did it under some duress as well. Got a knock as he got kicked and got up a little bit winded, but found the sticks. The best players so far for NAP Electrical Products, 100% Australian owned.
I thought Maynard's been best on the ground up until this stage. 17 possessions. Just his attack on the football, he's really hard and uncompromising. So he would be the one that I would go for. Honourable mentions at the moment, Anderson, as I mentioned, and Pendlebury. I think that those two guys have been very, very good. Remembering that Tarrant took those 5 intercept marks in the first quarter, so they're the guys that are around the process at the moment.
The momentum of the game swung a little bit after quarter time, and more so in the middle of that second term when Collingwood were able to get their way into the match. So the smartest play for Australian-made, support Aussie-made products.
Well, it was one of those. It was probably the first one. It was when Thomas ended up kicking the goal, but it was a little toe poke from side bottom. Boy, they'll miss him. I mean, he hasn't been a dominant player, but he just does the smart things more often than not. And he had 2 or 3 North Melbourne defenders squeezing his positioning. A little toe poke through, the ball got out the other side, and Thomas was able to get onto the end of it. We've seen a toe poke win a grand final. So they can be fairly handy.
Yes. It's important to buy Australian right now. The smartest play, the toe poke from Steel Sidebottom. Rookie of the day for MEGT. Kick goals with MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. There's a couple of players eligible.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, Marnie got that bone cruncher early, so he's been on and off the ground a little bit. I've liked Lockie Hosey's game up until this stage. He's had the 9 possessions, kicked the goal in what is a low-scoring game. So he's been involved in a lot of actions as a half forward. So I think he's been pretty good up until this stage.
MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. For Stockdale and Lego, coach of the day. Stockdale and Lego, we see more than property. It's been a good battle in the box between Nathan Buckley and Reece Shaw in his 25th game as a head coach. Reece Shaw, who's leading the way in the coaches' boxes?
Well, I'm going Reece Shaw. I come into the game expecting Collingwood to win. I thought about 4 goals, so I'm suggesting in my own head maybe 2 up at half-time. It's a little closer than that. Reece has had his players, a very young side, remembering all the players that were dropped last week. Certainly the most inexperienced of the 2 teams, and he's had them ready for the contest, ready for the battle. Sometimes when you have that, you make the big statement the week before with outs and you go really hard, the kids might have a drop-off the next week. That hasn't been the case. So give the tick to Reece. But look, if Bucks wins the game, he probably gets it at the end of the match.
Yeah, when you look at the players I've got out at the moment, Ben Brown, Jack Siebel, Ben Cunnington, Taron Thomas, Curtis Taylor, Kyron Hayden, who stepped up this season, Aaron Hall's on the emergencies, as is Jared Pollock and Majak Dawes. So that's half a team,
correct,
pretty much.
So I think he's done a good job with organisation to get them into a potential winning position.
Around the grounds for Chemist Warehouse, the SW23 fragrance by Shane Warne, exclusive to Chemist Warehouse. Recapping the winners so far this week and up to this point. This is the last game of round 13. Carlton on the Friday night beating Gold Coast. The Dogs, Port Adelaide, Richmond and Fremantle on the Saturday of football. And then yesterday, Geelong with the 28-point win over Adelaide. Brisbane, that 2-point win over the Saints, and West Coast, 2-goal winners over the Giants.
And Jordan, just for those that mightn't have heard earlier on tonight, Tom Lynch was cleared at the AFL tribunal, so he's clear to play in that game on Thursday night versus the West Coast Eagles.
No suspension and no fine?
Correct. That's how it played out. He argued that it wasn't a strike as such, and that's how they found it. So free to play, and I think football lovers will be happy about that, because that just looks absolutely tantalising clash between two really good sides. So you want the best of the best.
AFL Nation for McDonald's getting to Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquorland. Click and collect in just 30 minutes.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Getting to Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquorland. Always great value.
So you want a furphy? It's back in 82. Burrows were down by 6. Right on the siren, that mark of the match. 60 metres out, but he booted that ball so hard it split like an old shoe. The leather went through for 6, but the bladder sailed through for an extra point. And that's how I kicked a 7-pointer to win the match. There's your furphy.
Unbelievable.
Like it really rough. The Kia Seltos is a game-changing small SUV, boasting a bold and cutting-edge design, class-leading 10.25-inch touchscreen that connects up to 2 phones, first-in-class sound mood lighting with Bose premium sound system, plus Australia's best 7-year warranty. The Kia Seltos small SUV will move you. I'm the bad guy. Seltos. Duh.
Hi, Jack Revolt here. I get to kick goals on the footy field for a living, and you can kick career goals in any field. Study at Swinburne University of Technology. Swinburne's range of flexible bachelor degrees means you can change your course along the way as you uncover your true destiny. And jump into Swintopia, the virtual world giving you an unrestricted taste of the adventure that awaits at Swinburne. Swintopia, Swinburne's open world experience. Search swinburne.edu.au/Swintopia.
The Australian Government is extending JobKeeper and the temporary coronavirus supplement for those on income support. From September, financial support will be targeted for those who need it most, with some changes to payment amounts and eligibility. JobKeeper continues until the 28th of March next year, and the coronavirus supplement until the 31st of December 2020, because keeping businesses in business and Australians in jobs helps our economy. For more information, visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
GLG Greenlife Group is a market leader in commercial, open space maintenance and management, with services including property and grounds maintenance, sports turf and developing sustainable solutions. GLG delivers a broad range of integrated landscape, horticultural and environmental services throughout Australia, celebrating 25 years providing tailored and customised solutions to clients nationally. GLG is a dedicated open space specialist. GLG Greenlife Group, the team for exceptional service and quality results. glgcorp.com.
This is Ben Reid. There are fantastic opportunities for buyers of property in Melbourne right now, but you have to know where to look, when to buy and what to pay. If you've seen a property which you're considering buying, you need to speak to an Ian Reid buyer advocate first. We'll provide a free independent assessment of that property to help you make the right buying decisions. Ian Reid Buyer Advocates, a better way to buy property. Call 9430 0000 or visit ianreid.com.au.
Hello, Frank Walker from nationaltiles.com.au. The smartest way to buy wall and floor tiles in Australia is at nationaltiles.com.au. Right now at nationaltiles.com.au, you get free samples before you order, free delivery of your order, and free 100% money-back guarantee. Yes, free samples, free delivery, and free 100% money-back guarantee. Click on the National Tiles now and save. Conditions apply.
When the job needs doing,
that's Ace.
When you need it fast,
that's Ace.
When it's Ace Gutters, it's built to last.
As a roofing plumber working on an estate, I can't afford to be sitting around waiting for gutters, fascias and downpipes to be delivered. That's why I've always used Ace Gutters. If I order a stocked item by 5 a.m. that morning, I know I'll get it the same day.
When it's Ace Gutters, it's built to last.
Call 9586 4888 or log on to acegutters.com.au.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Getting to Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquorland. Always great value.
Third quarter not too far from getting underway here. Monday night footy on AFL Nation. It's all thanks to McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef. In fact, we are now underway to start the third quarter.
Opening bounce for Tyre Power. Store-wide super sale now on. Grundy got the first hand to it. 27 plays 22. Collingwood a 5-point lead. Getting there first, though, Higgins. He rides his way through 2 tackles and then finds a kick to centre half forward. Zerha leading out. Gets there ahead of Maynard. Drops the mark. Gets it back again. Looks for an option in the pocket in Mason Wood, but the kick floated a bit too short for him, and out of play it goes. Forward pocket for the Roos.
So it's a really hard thing to know what's the right thing or what's the wrong thing to do. They've been playing Higgins outside of the centre to give other opportunities to other players. My goodness, he's good when he's in there. He's just such a quality player.
Ball thrown in defence for the Pies is Main. Works it off to Adams, and now side bottom pokes a kick down the line over the head of Phillips. One bounce and out of bounds.
So when you're a side like North Melbourne, it's tough on the coach because you sit there and go, our best chance to win is to have Higgins in the middle of the ground. But our best development for the future is to have Higgins outside of that area.
Thrown in, outer side wing. He was really good on a wing last week against Brisbane. 503 metres gained.
I think if I'm coaching, I have him in there. Oh, it's just so tempting. You want to get a result, and your fans want a result.
Here he is again, receiving the handball from Anderson. Looks in the direction of Mason Wood, who got both hands on it, but didn't hang on to the mark. Imagine at ground level, he's tackled by Simpkin.
Now, he's mostly outside in the first half, and he's still in the best half-dozen players. So, I mean, he's still had a really solid first half of footy, but straight away he's impacted when he's gone into the middle.
Quarter's been going 90 seconds. Collingwood by 5 points, thrown up 30 metres away from North Melbourne's goal. Jed Anderson handballs back to Higgins, who's having an influence. Bailey Scott kicks the belly of the Sherrin to the goal square. It's off hands. Well done, Sherry. Simpkin got a boot on it. He's not sure whether it crossed the line or not.
Score review. Well, how could he be not sure? He could have almost gone down and put his nose on it.
That's true. That is true.
There's no one there.
Drinkwise score review.
Have a look where he is.
The Sherry contest was terrific. We'll get a replay at that. He couldn't mark, but he just open palmed the ball slightly towards goal. That's crossed the line, hasn't it?
If he's made contact there, then it's a goal because the whole of the ball hasn't crossed the whole of the line.
That's right.
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
That's exactly right.
But has he made contact?
Yeah, exactly. Has he made contact?
It looks like a goal to me, but you can't tell whether he's made contact or not.
I just had a quick look on Twitter during the halftime break. If this goes against Collingwood fans after the Marley Williams touch.
Yeah, it's a line ball, isn't it?
It's still not. I come back to this play. I know you get sick of me saying this. If this was 20 seconds to go in a grand final, we couldn't definitively say whether this is a goal or not.
Absolutely you couldn't.
It just has to be better.
The ball's dropped on the line, bouncing through, and Simpkins lurched out his left foot. It's just, is it grazing the toe?
At that, it's whether he got his studs on it. It's really the bottom of his foot, isn't it?
Correct.
Or has it crossed the line first? Here we go.
Drum roll. Goal.
So both have gone against Collingwood? Who would have thought that?
After all of that, Simpkins got his first. North Melbourne get a pretty important goal to start the third quarter. That might be an early Bendix Breaks big moment as they take the lead back by a point.
Well, it was almost impossible to tell from what we were looking at. My gut feeling was that it was going to be called a goal because I thought that it perhaps looked like there was a marginal touch on it, but how could you tell?
Gee, when you played in fast motion, it doesn't look like there was much deviance of the ball. Simpkins happy with it.
Can we get Snicko on the bottom of their boots?
That little, yeah.
So, Collingwood.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Collingwood 4-3-27, North Melbourne 4-4-28 is the scoreline, and North Melbourne take the lead again.
Are we absolutely positive that we got either of those two?
No.
I'm not.
No.
I think that was probably closer to the truest result than what the Marley Williams one was, but I don't know, when you play it in fast motion, it doesn't look like there was much contact. Back in the middle we go. Goldstein gets it off to Simpkin, whose clearance was smothered. Ricochets within the centre square. Maynard comes off the back edge and then drives it up the middle. Greenwood slides into the mark. Side bottom flying past. Measures the kick to full forward. Tarrant in front. Got a fist to it. Punches it away. Phillips gets in there for Collingwood's. Adams lost it in the crunch. And then McDonald seizes upon possession and squeezes out a sideways kick to Murphy at right half back. And North Melbourne deal with that 4-8.
Defenders of North Melbourne played with a bit of poise then. That was good.
Murphy long down the sideline. It'll hug the boundary.
Certainly better than that.
Moore has taken the mark, or it probably went out of bounds at the full, actually.
It was out the full.
Either way, it's going to be Darcy Moore's.
I just don't know why you need to go that close to the line when you're kicking down the line like that. Murphy on that occasion, I don't know, he's only a young player learning his way, but give it a bit of space.
True centre wing out of sides. Moore drives it forward and McDonald again gets back and takes the intercept grab for North.
He's had a good year.
He's having a really good year, yep. Second at the Kangaroos for rebound 50s. We've had to have said at the end of last season, Plough, there were some questions about where he fitted and what role he played.
Absolutely.
Well, he's nailed both positions. He started the year as a lockdown player and he's gone to the back half and now he's a rebounder for them. Tarrant changes direction as Marley Williams at right half back. There's McDonald once again. After all that praise, he nails the kick. Kangaroos by a point. Zerha runs to receive outer side wing. Only one goal in the quarter. Going to North Melbourne through Jai Simpkin. Larkey flew at the back now. Goldstein trying to rove. He went to ground and protected the footy. Did pretty well, but it bounced around off hands and it's all Collingwood. Dacos links up with Maynard. He hugs the boundary line, but his kick was spot on to Pendlebury.
Left half back, out of sides. Collingwood trailing by or behind.
Starting to work his way back into it. Pendles after having a bit of time out, isn't he?
Out on that Stanley Street wing. And go backwards first into defence for Madgen. Collingwood playing it slow out of half back. Maynard.
Player that I thought was best on the ground in the first half.
Goes the long kick down to the wing. Grundy the target. Didn't mark, but he had a player there in Dacos. And now Adams up the wing looking for Phillips, who was trying to twist through the air and take the mark as it was coming to him from behind. Pendlebury off the side bottom, into the pocket, and Collingwood will score. They want to claim it. Bit of a delayed reaction from everybody. Have they got it? They have. And it's Appleby who scores the goal for the Pies. So they get back in front. 5-3-33. North Melbourne 4-4-28.
Just brilliant, Pendlebury. So Pendlebury was the player in the contest that got the release out the first time and then followed the play down. When the ball was dropped, was there inside forward 50 to be able to mop it up again. So he was involved twice in the action of that being scored a goal.
Yeah, good link-up play going forward after Phillips threw the hands up and then Pendlebury came through and side bottom linking up, and then Appleby got pushed as he got the kick away, so he wasn't sure because the free kick was given, but the advantage obviously taken with the goal. 33 plays 28 on the scoreboard for Repco authorised service.
The first Pendlebury hand pass out of the pack just to release it out to Elliott. He just lobbed it over the top of the North Melbourne people, allowed Elliott just to run onto the footy, have all the time in the world. It's just a class act.
Nice moment too for Flynn Appleby, his first goal at senior level.
Right?
Yeah.
Well done,
he's been a defender in pretty much all of his 10 games that he's played so far. He's forward tonight.
No wonder he's fairly happy.
Yeah, not quite Trey Rusco sort of territory, but certainly up there. AFL Nation for Liquorland, always great value. Kangaroos play the outer side wing. Goldstein missed the target in Murphy by hand, and Greenwood goes and makes the footy his own. A spearing pass to Elliott. It was eased under the footy by Marley Williams. It's the Kangaroos' turn to mop up. Josh Walker from a standing start. Zerha coming in from the side.
Good mark.
Takes a nice Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the night.
Yeah, it was one of our better ones for the night, no doubt.
He reads the ball well in the air. No exception. And from the wing, kicks to the top of 50. Larkey again just couldn't get a clean look at it. He's got a tough job next to Darcy Moore tonight. Maynard away from the defensive region, kicks to a pack. It's fisted towards the boundary line. Adams, the big bump on Murphy, and it may have just hit his foot on the way through. That's out of bounds on the full. North Melbourne ball on the wing.
Absolute bad luck. Yeah, he competed and contested to make sure that the ball got over the line, and just a little bit stiff.
AFL Nation for Liquorland, always great value. High kick from Murphy, leathered towards the 50, bashed away by the Pies defenders. Back into the middle, Vickers Willis, he deviates his way through the traffic, and the kick was wayward. More peeled off the back and takes the intercept mark in defence.
Yeah, just got a little shove as he tried to kick at Vickers Willis, and he just put the kick off.
Darcy Moore exits out the far side for Collingwood. North Melbourne kicking to the left in this third term. They've got the ball back, though, off the Moore kick. McDonald hands off, and they pump it back inside again, the Kangaroos. Scott in the forward pocket has taken a great mark.
That's an excellent mark.
He got bodied out the back, and the ball still dropped into his breadbasket. Mark of the day for Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the day. And now to finish off the move, it's going to be a difficult set shot because he's deep in the gutter, right forward pocket.
Well, he's taken a couple of really strong marks tonight.
Bailey Scott with the banana, and it's gone right across the face.
Never looked like it.
No score. Scoreboard remains 33-28 for expert car service you can rely on. Visit repcoservice.com.
Maynard again releasing from defence for the Pies. Noble takes that run and momentum and up to the wing, looks for Rusco. His contest opened the door for Dacos, who was able to get a little boot on it and toe poke it forward. Simkin now paddling towards the boundary line for the Kangaroos. Will see it over. Have you seen the battle in the coach's box, Plough? For Stockdale and Lego, we see more than property.
Oh, look, I think Reece Shaw, with a very young side, has got his blokes prepared as well as what you possibly could. Still some clunkiness about the way that Collingwood are playing. So, yeah, I think Shaw's marginally in front.
Clinical stoppage work from the Pies. Grundy down to Pendlebury, down to Crisp, but kicks to the top of the goal square. Appleby fighting hard. Side bottom, willing himself to the footies in the forward pocket. Handball into Phillips. Rusco sits off the pack. He may have, should have been the one to go there. And Appleby was caught holding the ball instead.
He's right to the goal line there for Collingwood, but the ball just skewed away from side bottom. Had to chase it out the side of the goal square. Not that close, Collingwood.
Buck's chances in the coach's box, they're so reliant on these big boys up forward, just giving a contest and being able to give them some connection with the work that's done in the middle of the ground.
North Melbourne, last line of defence here. Vickers Willis, who'll kick across the face of goal.
With a wobbly.
Bad kick. Tarrant has to gather in the goal square and does well enough to find Higgins.
Safe hands when it goes from that wobbly Vickers Willis kick to Tarrant to Higgins.
Higgins at half back, puts some air into it, down to the wing. Out the back, Sherry with the fly. Couldn't hold it though. Roughhead got in front. Fires out a handball to Crisp. It goes backwards to Adams, and they can use the corridor now. Coming forward again, Greenwoods skates around a couple, delivers up towards half forward. If Thomas can get it before the boundary, he can't. He might have been on because the 50 was open. Out of bounds, left half forwards. Greenwood had the right idea to open up the grounds.
The cleanest Collingwood have looked is when the ball's been in Maynard's and Crisp's hand off half-back. They just move the ball quicker when those guys get it.
And Crisp not afraid to run with it as well, which just makes the game even faster. Ball thrown in, left half forward. It's a squaring kick inside 50 for the Pies, but it skates past Rusco. And out the back waits Mackay, who finds McDonald, who punches it out of defensive 50 with a nice kick to the chest of Hosey.
He's had a really good call to McDonald.
We've got 7 3/4 minutes to play on the Makita clock when power means business. Hosey, that's an ambitious kick to Tarrant. It didn't mark and then put Appleby in a headlock. Rusco takes the advantage and plays on and kicks the goal. He'll be the one to end up with it and kick his second. Terry Wallace, take us into Reece Shaw's coach's box for Stockdale and Lego, please.
Well, just what are you thinking? I mean, to go across ground there where there's only one player there, which was Tarrant. I mean, I know he's a senior player, but he was surrounded by 4 Collingwood players. You're a goal behind. Just play the percentages down the line, and I don't want to sound like a broken record. I mean, we want players to play with flair, but flair is not 35 metres out from your defensive goal to go to a 3-on-1 in the middle of the ground. That's not playing with flair.
That's why players are told to kick down the line, isn't it?
Correct.
Minimise the risk like that. So it's an 11-point lead for the Pies. As we approach, yeah, I agree. 15 minutes gone. Repco authorised service scoreboard. Collingwood have kicked 2 in a row.
AFL Nation for Liquorland, always great value. Reece Shaw coaching down from the bench for NHP electrical products, available at a wholesaler near you. So Lockie Hosey is going to have to front up to the coach face to face.
He's had a reasonable game too.
39. Oh, that's an awkward landing from Darcy Cameron, who's landed right on his coccyx, and he's in a bit of pain at the moment, giving Grundy a pinch hit in the ruck. Out of the middle, though, comes Davies Uniacke with a flying kick towards goal, but Moore and Roughhead converge on the goal line to see it over and touch it through for a behind. And have a look at the replay for car sales. Both Ruckman, Sherry and Cameron sort of collided cross-body in the air, and that's ugly for Cameron.
She's hurt. The old coccyx laying flat to back.
Collingwood out of the back half. Their kick's cut off by Sherry at right half forward. So they'll get a repeat inside 50.
And in a way, that's because Cameron's gone down. Sherry was able to take that mark.
High ball to full forwards. Underneath it was Wood, but the fist came from the side from Moore. Dacos awaits in the back pocket. Crisp and underground handball to look for Adams. Linking up again, Dacos, and then Crisp rides his way through the tackle. A long Polly Farmer handball from Adams to try and find Greenwoods. It's towed along the ground by Elliott. It pops up awkwardly for Cox, who was wronged by the bounce of the ball. North Melbourne get it through midfield, and Davies Uniacke can find an option. He twists and kicks inside forward 50, but Moore again takes another defensive grab, and Madgen can come out the near side for the Pies.
He's become a good player, Darcy Moore. I'm probably telling nobody anything there, but he really has impressed this year.
He'll be in the conversation for All-Australia, and he has to be. He's one of the key planks.
Well, one of the things, I've always thought he could intercept very, very well, but he's actually much better defensively now as well, so does both roles.
He's out of contract at the end of the year, but spoke last week and said he's pretty confident that a deal will get done. Good kick into the middle for the Pies now as Josh Thomas lays it off with a handball to Noble from centre half forward. Pendlebury drifting forward, unable to mark. Greenwood tackled. The hands of Dumont slipped up, gave it to Hosey. It looks a little bit lost at half back. Adams pounces on the loose ball from right on 50 metres, drives it home. 3 on the bounce for the Pies, and they make their move in this third quarter. An important goal from an important player. 7-3-45 Collingwood. North Melbourne 4-5-29. Repco authorised service scoreboard.
Well, personally, I just thought the hand pass was unnecessary. First one from Adley was okay, but then the Dumont hand pass set up Hosey. I mean, Hosey's going to wear it that he's been involved in the 2 goals kicked against, but I thought Dumont was the one who actually set him up. Dumont was needing to actually just blast the ball out of there. He wasn't going to get an easy kick out. It would have only been a hack kick, but it was better to be 20 or 30 metres down the line than where it was turned over in that position.
Good team goal for the TAC. Drinking and driving, they're just better apart, TAC.
And Jordan, it's broken open about the time we sort of said the first 6 or 7 minutes we thought at half-time, after half-time would be tight, and it's just starting to break open now.
It's breaking Collingwood's way. Game high lead of 17 points. 45 plays 29. It looks like 16 points, I beg your pardon. It's out to Anderson from the middle, backwards to Davies Uniacke. Sideways to McDonald by hand, and Anderson again in that phase of play. Long kick up to the 50 for Larkey, who takes the mark and then gets infringed by Maynards.
7 goals to 2 from turnovers, remembering that the first 2 goals that North scored were their turnover goals.
No extras by the umpire, so Larkey takes his kick from where he marked, but it was cut off in defence. Sidebottom tries to soccer it out of the 50. It will come back in though for North via the left boot of McDonald, who hoiks it up towards the goal square. Sherry waits, he can't take the mark, he's outnumbered, and Crisp, who can glide out of defence with a long left foot kick out to the wing. A big fist from Mackay, stops on the boundary, doesn't go out of play, and right up along the chalk. Main to Crisp, who punches it on. Gave it up though, coughed it up to Mackay. Sherry again. I'll get the inside 50 entry once more, North Melbourne. That pulled kick from Marnie, not so great. Larkey gathers though in the pocket, drives it to the goal square, and Sherry clutches it with the one arm.
That's a good mark.
Probably is the best mark of the night. Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the day. He had a defender hanging off him in rough edge. He just managed to get that right arm free, and it landed in the pouch of his right elbow.
That's a really good contested mark. I was just about to say, after Roughhead's effort before that, how he ever got dropped is a surprise, but he was just beaten one-on-one then.
2 goals last week. He's in goal-scoring form, Tristan Sherry, and he dobs it flush down the middle in close range. So North Melbourne break up the 3-goal streak of the Pies, and they're back within 10. It's 7-3-45 Collingwood, and North Melbourne 5-5-35 on the scoreboard for Repco authorised service.
It was a good effort from Larkey to keep the ball alive in the first place, and Cherry just getting the front spot, got a big frame on him, and was able to get the job done from there. I don't think that Roughhead did actually a heck of a lot wrong, but it was just the fact that it's a big, strong effort from a strong man. Virtually took it one arm in the end.
He's big. There's no other way to describe him, Tristan Sherry. 201 centimetres, 100 kilos. As Jordan said, kicked 2 goals last week as the late inclusion for Robbie Tarrant.
We're coming in his first game at Marvel Stadium, and he just didn't look like he could get the run of the play and understood what it was like at the level. But since he's come back, he's been okay.
Just looking to the bench for NHP Electrical Products, Darcy Cameron back up and taking his place on the bench. Very awkward landing. So it'll be Grundy and Goldstein continue this battle, which Goldstein has maybe marginally just had the better of. We'll get Terry to have a look at that matchup in a moment. Higgins receives a handball at halfback from Davies Uniacke. It's the outer side wing. Marnie was out of position but did well to fight on. Paddled it towards Dumont. His kick was smothered though, and it's over for a throw in, outer side wing.
I thought there was nothing between the two rucks at half time. Grundy just starting to get on top as it's going along. His ability to help link up his midfielders, I think, is his big assistance.
Number 1 and number 2 in the competition for hit-outs, Brodie Grundy and Todd Goldstein coming into tonight.
So Goldie was leading the hit-outs at half time?
Grundy leading the season.
Yep.
With Goldie leading at half time, there's Grundy. Nice handball inboard to Pendlebury. A bit happening off the ball.
That's the overlap that he gives him. He's an extra midfielder.
And 50 metres to go with it. So the initial free kick was to Scott Pendlebury after he got rid of the ball. What was the 50 for, I wonder? Was that for the tackle lingering on Phillips?
I'm not sure, but I've got to have a chuckle because Pebbles had a big blue with the umpires about 3 minutes ago about being held inside 50 when he went for a mark. He was not a happy man at all. It's evened out now.
It's funny how that works. Game number 310 tonight. He's within touching distance now of Tony Shaw on 313 games and should finish the season as playing the most games in the history of this proud football club. 25 metres out, virtually directly in front. Class personified. His first of the season. There's a bit of that happening tonight. Collingwood take their lead back out to 16 points on the Repco authorised service scoreboard with 2.5 minutes to play.
So he pushed the ball on. Now let's have a look at what else happened. So what happened was he hand-passed the ball, tried to carry that play on and was pushed over. They won't allow that. You've got to be allowed to run on and get possession of the ball. Why the 50 was paid, I've got no idea. From what I've just sort of seen there, could not tell what the 50 was paid for on the car sales replay, but certainly the free kick was paid because he wasn't allowed to continue on.
I'm only guessing on that replay that Phillips tried to play on. Let's have another look here.
So he's pushed over by McDonald.
So the tackle came from Josh Walker. So that's after the free kick. Walker hangs on to the leg there, maybe.
I'm wondering whether McDonald might have
possibly
gobbed off as well. Not thinking that he did enough to have the penalty given against him. I'm thinking it was McDonald's.
Well, now the cameras have found him. I think it is Jordan.
51 plays 35. Goldstein, it's socket off the ground by Adams. Rolls inside 50 with purpose. Cox out to meet it. He's on his back. He's trying to paddle it towards a teammate, but keeping it locked in there was Mackay. Now Williams extracts it and bombs it out to the open wing. On that Stanley Street side, far side of the grounds. Varco, good gather. Got a bump as well, but he's kicked backwards. He was pushed as he kicked. And so North Melbourne get in and reclaim possession. Davies Uniacke drives it up to the 50, but Roughhead got in front. On his knees, takes the chest mark.
The other reason I was thinking McDonald is because not very often you see a bloke just turn to the middle of the ground. He's not looking across to see what Reece Shaw was thinking. I think he was just having a bit of a go at the umpire.
Roughhead out of the back line to the contest with the two ruckmen out there, and the two Collingwood ruckmen, that is, Grundy and Cameron. Off hands and tackled out of play was Walker via Main. Less than 2 minutes to go on the clock for Makita. Power through this season with Makita Power Garden.
So the umpires will cop a bit of a mouthful, but they won't cop anything that's aggressive in nature towards them.
Thrown in. Anderson lost it on the bounce. Ahern trying to rip himself clear of the clutches of Grundy unsuccessfully.
So you could go as hard as, you're kidding yourself, that wasn't a free. That's all open slather, but it's when you start getting personal that, you'll get the 50.
All thrown up again. Goldstein down. It rolls towards the centre square from the wing. Murphy was there hanging around the back. Didn't go in though. Pendlebury did. Dived on top of it. In goes Anderson as well. And Anderson does well enough to lock it in. North Melbourne perhaps just preserving for a moment.
Got that little buffer now, Collingwood. North desperately need the next goal to stay in this.
Clearance is 11-5 from the centre circle. A minute 22 to play. Sidebottom trails it towards the boundary line. He's managed to get a kick away, I should say, in the nick of time to Pendlebury.
He's having a nice night, Pendles.
He's in front of the interchange bench for NHP Electrical Products. They're available at a wholesaler near you. Slip through the fingers of Cameron. Phillips whacks it forward. Rusco shares to Dacos. The kick didn't go the required distance. He was spun 360 and lost the ball. The Kangas should have enough numbers around here to repel. Marley Williams kicks around the corner, not a good one. Pendlebury's got it back. He was closed down in a tackle. Adams had some space. He kicks hurriedly as well, but Marnie playing in front of Varco Marks with 35 seconds left on the Makita clock.
Marnie goes across defence to find Walker. Chip it back in board. North Melbourne just slowing the pace down here before they'll wind up through McDonald's. Long kick out to the wing. Underneath it is Hosey, who flies up, palmed down by Higgins, and out of play near the boundary. Boundary for Spitwater. High pressure cleaners, tools not toys, Aussie tough.
Well, it's not enough for Collingwood. I mean, they stretched the lead. It's not enough, but if they kick the next one, they're going to be really difficult to beat.
So the third quarter just winding down to an end. Williams will have one last bomb down the middle, though, for North. Out in the direction of Wood. Bounces short of him. Collingwood had numbers trailing back. Three-quarter time at the Gabba. Collingwood, in that term, had a run of 3 straight goals. They scored 4 goals to 2 in that quarter. And they got a 5-point lead extended out to 16 points at the last break. It's 8-3-51 Collingwood to North Melbourne, 5-5-35 on AFL Nation for Liquorland. Always great value. Last quarter up next.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Repco Authorised Service. For expert car service you can rely on, visit repcoservice.com.au.
So you want a furphy? It's back in 82. Burrows were down by 6. Right on the siren, that mark of the match. 60 metres out, but he booted that ball so hard it split like an old shoe. The leather went through for 6, but the bladder sailed through for an extra point. And that's how I kicked a 7-pointer to win the match. There's your furphy.
Unbelievable. Hi, Jack Revolt here. I get to kick goals on the footy field for a living, and you can kick career goals in any field. Study at Swinburne University of Technology. Swinburne's range of flexible bachelor degrees means you can change your course along the way as you uncover your true destiny. And jump into Swintopia, the virtual world giving you an unrestricted taste of the adventure that awaits at Swinburne. Swintopia, Swinburne's open world experience. Search swinburne.edu.au/Swintopia.
This is Ben Reid. The real estate market has changed. The volume of property being sold off-market is as high as we've ever seen. If you're a buyer just searching online, then you're missing out on the best buying opportunities. At Ian Reid Buyer Advocates, we have a database of selling agents providing us with exclusive off-market properties. If you're planning to buy a home or investment, you need to speak to us. Ian Reid Buyer Advocates, a better way to buy property. Call 9430 0000 or visit ianreid.com.au.
Our pets can do no wrong, even when they're doing wrong.
4, 3, 2, and you're still here. Which is why brands like these choose radio. You see, every impression you pay for makes an impression. There's no countdown, blocker, fast forward or skip button. Your message is guaranteed to get through. And right now, with so many people tuning in to feel more connected, it's the right time to connect with your customers. For cut-through that gets results, visit radiolive.com.au.
Hello, small business owners. Drew Doolan here. At Sites and Stores, we build websites. We build big websites. We build small websites. If there's one thing the world has taught us recently, you need to get your website pumping. Start selling online. We're experts in custom designed websites and online stores. Get yours rebuilt with Sites and Stores. If it's not custom designed, it won't work. Mention SEN and get $200 off. Conditions apply. Act now. Visit us at sitesandstores.com.au.
Do you feel like this when you use the internet at your office?
Is this dial-up? What is going on? Why is this so slow?
With Summit Internet, get speeds up to 5 times faster than the NBN, with greater reliability and Australian support. From just $99 a month, say goodbye to slow business internet, installation within 10 business days, or your first month is free. summitinternet.com.au.
Chasing, it's your time to win. Pacing, when your number comes in. Racing, the place to be. SEN Track 1593.
Melbourne's newest radio station is off and racing. SEN Track 1593 AM.
SEN Track, it's the new sound of chasing, pacing and racing.
1593 AM.
SEN Track.
Join in the fun and banter today. SEN Track 1593 AM.
Collingwood fans, now's the time. Join the virtual Magpie Army by becoming a Magpie Insider member today. Receive exclusive member content and club updates from the club and discounts on merchandise. Head to membership.collingwoodfc.com.au to sign up. Go Pies!
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and liquor land. Always great value.
It was coming to him from behind. Pendlebury off the side bottom, into the pocket, and Collingwood will score. They want to claim it. Bit of a delayed reaction from everybody. Have they got it? They have. And it's Appleby who scores the goal for the Pies.
Ooh, Hosey, that's an ambitious kick to Tarrant. It didn't mark and then put Appleby in a headlock. Rusco takes the advantage and plays on and kicks the goal. He'll be the one to end up with it and kick his second. Gave it to Hosey. It looks a little bit lost at half-back. Adams pounces on the loose ball from right on 50 metres, drives it home. 3 on the bounce for the Pies and they make their move in this third quarter.
Highlights for the TAC. Drinking and driving, they're just better apart. TAC.
Quarter to play on AFL Nation and Collingwood had a really, really good quarter. 4 goals to 2 and they expanded on their lead to take it to 16 points with 1 quarter remaining. They are 8-3-51. North Melbourne are 5-5-35. The opening bounce coming up shortly for Tyre Power. Get a grip on tyre safety.
Well, it was 7 goals to 2 in turnovers, and the first 2 goals that North kicked were their turnover goals. So really, that was the difference between the two sides. 2 horror turnovers in that quarter really got Collingwood rolling. Their midfield, I spoke about some of the youngsters in the North midfield. I wanted to see how they'd go, and they've handled themselves okay. Davey Juniacki, I think, has been pretty good in that area. But when it comes to senior footballers, Pendlebury, 11 possessions that quarter and a goal. Adams, 10 possessions and a goal in that quarter. They really stepped up and they really took control of the middle of the ground. I thought McDonald was very good without him. There could have been more goals kicked by the Pies, but One area the Pies still haven't fixed up is they can't take a mark inside their forward 50. North have taken 7. Collingwood have taken 1 with those big blokes down. Only 1 mark for the entire game. So that part of it's still not working for them. But certainly it was just their senior body, their tough physical bodies in the middle of the ground that really got them rolling.
Round the grounds for Chemist Warehouse, the SW23 fragrance by Shane Keith Warren. Exclusive to Chemist Warehouse. If you have just joined us, the news from the Tribunal earlier tonight is that Tom Lynch is cleared to play for Thursday night's game against the West Coast Eagles at Metricon Stadium. Cleared of striking Michael Hurley. And some charges to come out of yesterday. Probably the main ones. Luke Dalhouse will get a week for his dangerous tackle on Matt Crouch.
Yep.
Cam Guthrie a fine for contact on Rory Sloane. Fines. A 1-match ban for Lincoln McCarthy for his rough conduct on Ben Patton, which I thought maybe deserved a week. It was a 50-50 on that one.
I didn't think he'd get a week for that, I must say.
And the rest after that, fines. Tim Kelly for a dangerous tackle on Adam Kennedy. Dean Kent for rough conduct on Oscar McInerney. Dougal Howard for front-on contact on Dane Zorko. All fines which go towards... I actually have no idea. Probably the AFL's Christmas party. AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's tonight for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef. It's the Pies by 16 points with a quarter to play. Grundy's tap down was stolen by Davies Uniacke in the middle. Links up with Marley Williams. That's a short, dinky kick that did his teammate no favours. It ricochets into the hands of Cameron. Off to side bottom. Kicks the goal. Dynamic start to the last quarter for the Pies. All of that inside 21 seconds.
Yeah, and Sidey, it might be the last goal he kicks for the season, but certainly a goal that set it up from that point of view. And again, another fumble. It was kick off the ground by Taylor Adams that really sort of put the North defenders under pressure, but in this game you just can't afford to fumble, and fumble they did, and all of a sudden Collingwood were off to the races the other way. He's a class finisher, isn't he? Side bottom.
A dashing goal from Steele side bottom, 57-33. 22-point leads. They extend their game-high lead now. Collingwood's fast starts in the last quarter always hurt the team trailing. North Melbourne have lost 9 of their last 10 games.
Going to be hard to see them coming back from this now.
Collingwood's looking to get back on the winners list. If they do, it'll be 3 wins in their last 4, which means they've traversed that 4 games in 14 days period nicely. Not all convincing wins, but hey, 4 points is 4 points. Pendlebury spins his way out of 2 tacklers in the middle from the next bounce. Cox gets there, handball away to Will Hoskin-Elliott. A flying shot at goal, wobbles through the air. It drops on the behind line, and young Flynn Appleby takes the mark.
Shown some signs, hasn't he?
Had to take it from dropping over his shoulder. And careering into the fence as well is okay.
He's just done a couple of nice things.
This could be a nice goal if he scores this. He's lining up on a 90-degree angle. Directly in line with the goalpost, so he's going to have to wheel around and score the banana. In the right forward pocket. He kicks it on the angle, and it's just a bit short. Out to the near sides, off the side of the right foot. 9-4-58 Collingwood. North Melbourne 5-5-35 for tyre power, your trusted tyre experts.
Luke McDonald wanted to go to the broadcast side, had to instead kick to the outer wing. Darcy Moore flying, it slipped through his fingertips. Hosey kicks a ball that, well, initially the umpire said play on, and now he's given a free kick to Zerha for being pushed in the back. Hugs the boundary line with his kick right in front of the bench.
Just need a quick answer, don't they, the Kangaroos, just to keep their spirit levels up as much as anything else.
Pinpoints Bailey Scott, who wastes no time and sends it deep. Grundy from a couple back takes a nice Glenn Cameron's can-do mark of the day, and the Pies can possess from the back half. Maynard Keeps it low to Madgen. He might wrap around and get it again, and that's exactly what he does.
He does, and then Maynard goes long out to the wing, looking for a target in Hoskin Elliott, who's worked nicely into the game in the second half. Good mark. Heading towards the boundary. Cuts inside with a lateral kick to find Adams, who's been busy tonight. Goes further inside into the corridor. Grundy marks just atop the centre circles. You can meander forward and measure off a pass to the top of the goal square, looking for Cameron. Punched away, though, by Tarrant. Rolls free in the 50. Cox put some body contact on Vickers-Willis. Handball fed out from Elliott to Appleby, who wanted to try the spectacular right up against the boundary left forward pocket, but he's shanked the kick and it's gone directly in front of him, which means it's gone out of bounds on the full. 9-4, plays 5-5. 23-point lead for Collingwood. North Melbourne out to half-back.
They can't get any flow going. They're sort of going wide now, North, and they're just being held up down the line.
Scott will wind up and kick down to the wing, and there it is.
That's what happens.
Madgen cuts it off for the Pies.
He's looked pretty comfortable tonight. He's looked pretty comfortable his last couple of games, Ben Madgen. Growing into it.
The one thing is playing against inexperienced forwards, so it gives him an opportunity.
Does help him out, doesn't it? Yeah.
But it gives you an opportunity to get a couple of notches under your belt, I suppose.
Darcy Cameron looked long. He wanted Cox. It fell short of him. Bouncing off hands. Josh Thomas, right forward pocket. His handball intercepted. Bailey Scott gets another possession. It slews off the side of the boot. Was touched, though. Pendlebury didn't know that. And he was bear-hugged in a strong tackle by Zerha.
His good thing is, imagine that not many sides have got that third tall that he's going to be competing against. You know that Roughhead and Moore are going to be with the first two.
It's Jamie Elliott, a bit sore off the ball. Very successful family, the Madgens, from basketball.
Yeah.
Ben himself was Jack, I should say, was a really good basketballer. Ben just recently retired. Spent a lot of time playing overseas, but it was with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, and Tessie's sister, but that's a kick in the head for Jamie Elliott. That's going to hurt. He went to smother.
Car sales replay. It was a courageous smother, but gee.
Got the boot right in the side of the head, but he looks okay. A bit sore. His play's restarted. Atley.
It's above the shoulders, Jack. It doesn't count.
Atley in the back pocket. Nicely controlled by Zerha. Handballs to Damonu. Blazes away.
That was an old Hawthorn one.
Was it?
From the late John Kennedy.
I was wondering where that came from.
John Kennedy Senior, that one comes from.
It did have a bit of old school coach about it, I must admit. Inside 50s, 4-1 this quarter, Collingwood's way. They lead by 23 points. 6 minutes played on the Makita clock when power means business.
Those things just stick in your head.
When you elaborate on it, no surprise. Collingwood drive it forward into the 50. It's out the back. Appleby, if he can race onto it. He paddles it inside, looking for Phillips coming past. Pendlebury goes backwards to Grundy. His handball was askew as it got slapped away from his hands. Side bottom, punches it forwards. Elliott's back up and running, but his kick off the side of the boot as he was being tackled, so it wobbles out. Lands just on the boundary. 58 plays 35, a boundary throw in. Along the Spitwater high pressure cleaners boundary next to the right behind post. Thrown back into the top of the goal square. It's Grundy who fumbles the tap and goes back on his knees and tries to work off a handball, but Goldstein seizes upon possession. Murphy paddles along the ground back to Goldstein. Pendlebury comes in, cuts it off. Grundy lost it and then bent over on the boundary and was collected front on by Vickers-Willis, which is why all the boos ring around the Gabba.
Was he out? That's the only thing. No, that's still in play. That should have been a free kick.
Yep.
Head high tackle. Can't cannon into them like that. I just wondered, when they didn't call it, was it out of bounds? But it was certainly in play.
Boundary throw in the results. Grundy wrestles his way to the fronts. Guides it down to Appleby, who slides through on his knees. Handballs out to Thomas, who works his way through the traffic, pumps it into the goal square, running onto it, Hoskin Elliott, and scores from point blank. Collingwood are careering away now on the scoreboards. It's their 10th goal of the night. They lead by 29 points. 10-4-60 for Collingwood to North Melbourne, 5-5-35. And Will Hoskin Elliott has his first goal of the night and number 9 for the season.
they just worked a little harder in the contest to keep the ball alive. So that's a pleasing performance. Thomas originally was the one who just worked inside the pack to keep the ball alive, and did a great job to force it out. Smart little tap by Cox to get the ball to Hoskin Elliott. It wouldn't have got to Hoskin Elliott without just a deft little tap from Cox.
Nathan Buckley.
They've controlled the second half of this.
He looks much more calm than what he did in the first half, and they have plough, as you say, and Jordan, as you say too, 6 goals to 2 since half-time. Really flipped the script from last year when they played. North Melbourne kicked 7 goals to 2 after half-time and won that game, but they've been nowhere to be seen in this game tonight. Varco, bang, was bumped on the way through by Sherry. He gets up, though. The ball ricochets into the hands of Simpkin. He's kicking in the forward pocket, had no real purpose, and Darcy Moore drops the mark, and out of play it goes. Left forward pocket.
They've been very good, Darcy Moore, again tonight.
Jeez.
We're just having a look at the car sales replay of the Cherry Varco incident. Lucky Varco's fairly flexible, I'd suggest.
If he had taken one step either way, he may have been in a whole lot more trouble than what he was. There's Sherry. Nice paddle to the advantage of Marnie. 20 metres away from goal. He couldn't take it cleanly. Side bottom. Decides to bring it back into congestion. Dacos with a foot inside the goal square. He'll just go short to Darcy Moore, and the Pies with 10.5 minutes remaining on the Makita clock. Power through the season with Makita's Power Garden range are in control. They lead by 29 points.
Yeah, 10 played, 10 to go. 64 plays 35. Cameron might have been tunnelled through the air. Looks like his legs were taken out from underneath him slightly. Went over his head, though, and North Melbourne on the wing through McDonald, then Anderson are in possession.
He's had a really good second half, McDonald.
It's Wood outside 50. He kicks it into the pocket, and it's a bad kick.
That's a really poor kick.
Has he had a couple of those tonight, Mason Woods? Definitely in the first half.
You just wonder where Mason Woods' football is going, really, don't you? And, has he got a future at North Melbourne? If he hasn't got a future at North Melbourne, has he got a future in the competition? They're all questions for the back half of the year.
This kick rolled out of bounds, so a throw in at left half forward for the Roos. In there is Larky, who's gone quiet this second half. Ball hasn't been down his end, fair to him. Into the forward pocket goes Simpkin. He beats Noble. He doesn't beat the tackle of Madgen, who slings him around into the ground, holding the ball. It was a clasping tackle from Jack Madgen in the back pocket.
Yeah, it was. Simpkin tried to take him on. I can understand if you get around, you might have an opportunity to be able to score a goal, but just locked away.
Imagine his kick falls short. Again, Cox was the target, and again, doesn't quite get to him in time. McDonald chimes in. Into the forward pocket goes to Simpkin.
Yeah, I think in fairness to Cox that time, the kick was just poor. It just never really got into his region.
So this time, Simpkin, with Madgen on the mark, has a chance to win this little individual battle. 16 disposals tonight, 4 clearances.
Solid, easy. I mean, he's become a good player.
He's North Melbourne's #1 clearance player this year, especially with Ben Cunnington missing a large portion of the year, and as I heard Jordan talking about before, he'll be out for the rest of the year as well.
It was good early, Joe. Simpkin died out of it a little bit in the second half.
So he opens up the angle. He tried to step inside Mason Cox. He saw who was on the mark. Collingwood had switched. He thought, surely I'll be able to run around him, but Mason was having none of it, and good on him.
And Noble goes darting away off half-back as well. It's the biggest play of the game. Might be a Bendix Breaks big moment. Mason Cox. Collingwood going coast to coast. Inside 50. It's 1-on-1. The kick's a bit short, though. It doesn't find Rusco.
I could guarantee you they'd be having a chuckle in the Collingwood box. I'm not quite sure they'd be doing the same in the North Melbourne box.
I don't know.
When you get caught once, so imagine caught him only like about 30 seconds. He's obviously a confident young man to do it the second time around.
It's got all the makings of being a good gif, I reckon, Jordan, that one, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Collingwood's inside 50 didn't come to anything. Unfortunately for them, Mackay took the intercept grab. And North will just possess it around their back half. Oh, good kick from McDonald coming out of defence. North Melbourne still have it, though. Davis Uniacke down to the wing. A high one for Marnie. Over the top came Crisp. At the fall is McDonald. Swivels his way through the traffic. Up towards half forward. It'll bounce just short of Sherry. He goes up with Moore. Moore won the contest. Paddles out the side to Grundy. He takes off like a rover across half back. And the kick following up goes out of bounds on the full. Nothing much Mason Cox could do about that one. The North Melbourne ball at half back. 64-35.
Mason Cox doesn't mind. He's had his moment now.
Might be our Furphy unbelievable moment. Furphy refreshing ale, unbelievable.
Might have just penciled it in.
I thought you might have.
we have been working too much together.
We are getting to that point of the season, Plough, where we're seeing more of each other than our partners. Higgins sat it up in the air for Dumont. Madgen read it well, left his man and impacted the contest, and the Pies can attack through the broadcast wing. Crisp gave a really, really hot handball to Adams. Somehow got a handball free. Unfortunately, Rusco couldn't do the same. And that will be 50. Yeah. The ball didn't get returned to Higgins correctly.
Now, I'm not for putting people into next week, but McKay had to really put Taylor Adams away on that occasion.
Yeah. That's a wasteful entry from the Kangaroos.
I'm not talking about with a nasty bump, but just the force of the tackle just had to put him on the deck. I mean, he was set up with a hospital hand pass. We saw the Collingwood players earlier really fiercely tackling through the middle of the ground. That's what McKay needed to do.
6 minutes to play. Magpies by 29 points. Hoskin Elliott shares a short kick to Main at right half back.
You just can't be too nice in this game.
Main goes short as well to Dacos. So this game well and truly in the book for Collingwood now. They'll move to 7 wins, a draw and 5 losses for the season, and will hang on to their spot inside the 8.
And they are easing their way through the last minutes of this game. There's still about 6 to go in the last quarter on the clock for Makita when power means business. Adams has it, nearest edge of the centre square. He starts to amble inbound, then sees no option, so he averts back out to the wing with the sideways kick to Madgen, who goes backwards, and Collingwood will just do this as their heart pleases. They've got Carlton next week, which becomes a nice little rivalry game. Carlton's improved form this season. Collingwood's getting back on the winners list. Darcy Moore going for a journey through centre half back. He rounds a potential tackler, hands off to Maynard, who spreads it out to the near side. Looking for Adams, who couldn't mark but punched it onto side bottom. Around the corner, it's a cute kick. It's a sharp kick on the acute angle. Rusco did well to pat it down. Appleby's got one tonight. Standing start in the pockets. He just dragged it too far to the near sides.
It was certainly worth a try.
Absolutely. Had plenty of space. 10-5-65 Collingwood to North Melbourne 5-5-35, a 30-point ball game. Appleby has one goal two now for the evening.
The 2 defenders that were involved in that piece of play, Moore and Maynard, have been their absolute standouts in the back line.
Tarrant certainly tried hard tonight for the Kangaroos, but the weight of inside 50s in the second half has made it pretty hard work for him. Kicks to a pack, outer side wing, Darcy Moore the fist. Collingwood keep playing and North Melbourne had stopped. Varco kicks from a standing start. Cox and Tarrant wrestle. Tarrant got a little hand on it, then fell over. Wood shoveled a pretty laconic handball back that missed Marley Williams. And there's a genuine wrestle going on off the ball. Hoskin Elliott and Williams looked very Greco-Roman the way that they were going about it. It's a Pies free kick. It'll be Chris Mayne to take it. 55 metres out. There's Pendlebury. Barely the required distance. You'd imagine just beyond his distance. He'll pop it up to a dangerous area. It was tailor-made for Cox. He had to fly against 4. Rusco crumbing, but gave it up. Simpkin likewise. His handball missing Higgins. Mayne absorbs the tackle and forces a stoppage. Right forward pocket. 3.5 minutes to play. Makita clock.
65-35 is the score for Tyre Power. Thrown up in the pocket, Elliott handballing backwards to the 50 for Maine. Pendlebury comes charging backwards away from the traffic outside of 50, then hooking it back in with a high left foot kick. Punched away by Tarrant, falls to Davies Uniacke. who spreads it out to the far side. The only man out there was Zerha, who did well in the end because Maynard couldn't control it. Zerha mopped it up. And then Anderson takes down Dacos. In fact, other way around. It's been given to Anderson, who gives the handball off half-back, and North Melbourne will pump it down the wing. Sherry, again outmans by Moore, who comes around the back and punches it back up the wing. North Melbourne have players up the fall. Marnie, who gets jockeyed out of play. Boundary throw-in on the outer side for Spitwater high-pressure cleaners. Tools, not toys, Aussie tough. Reece Shaw's been down on the boundary all second half, directing traffic.
Well, they've got so many players out, the Kangaroos, that they're just having a look at what they've got so that they can realign themselves for next season.
Goes out of play again off the hand of Paula Hearn. Chris Mayne, the bandages around the foreheads, with those curls springing out from underneath the bandages. Who am I thinking of? Is it John McEnroe? Chris Mayne lookalike with the hair and the bandana.
There's a couple of tennis players, Plough. That's sort of more your...
McEnroe with the curls coming out. Yeah, absolutely.
There's another one I'm thinking of too, but I just can't picture the name. Not Bjorg. I don't know. Anyway. Regardless of all of that...
not Edberg.
No, he had short hair, Stefan Edberg.
Oh, he did too.
Borgie used to wear the headband and the fluffy hair around the sides. Doesn't have any anymore.
I can think of someone else who used to wear a headband back in the day too. It's Rusco. He's talking about Jimmy Barnes. As Dacos, he goes wide to Main. 2 minutes 11 remaining. Crisp dropped it.
He would be disappointed with his effort there.
He was through otherwise, and Walker sends it away from the danger area. Sherry and Roughhead were the flyers for both teams. Noble at ground level combines with Roughhead, and Varco happy to share with an extra handball to Maynard. It's a beautiful change of direction to Darcy Cameron at centre half back.
It goes out wide. Oh, it's a bit too short for Phillips. Goldstein came in with the hands. Gives it off to Zerha. Handball forward inside 50. Marnie off to Larkey, who twists around in the pocket, centres it up looking for Wood, but the hand came up from Pendlebury. Down to Davies-Uniacke. Into the goal square, out the back. Madgen can't take the mark. Crisp is there, though, to mop it up. Cameron out to Noble. The Pies can just take a bit more time off the clock with Noble's kick to right half back to find Thomas. A minute to go on the clock from Akita when power means business.
Good victory for Collingwood. I mean, just gives them a little bit going into the last month of footy.
Out to the wing. Dacos dives onto it. Feeds it out to Pendlebury. Hard up along the boundary. Bustling in was Dumont. Appleby gets slammed into the ground by Mackay, and it will be thrown up. Wasn't Guga Quirton the other one? Gustavo Quirton?
No, I'm thinking of a generation before that.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to get the Google machine on it before the end of tonight. AFL Nation for Macca's. Hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef. What's happening here? A Pies free kick.
Off the ball to side bottom.
And Adams.
He's had a great game, Adams.
Yeah, he's had a
great season.
He's had a huge season. He's runner-up in their best and fairest in 2017.
How many games has he missed this year? He missed a couple?
This is his 8th.
Oh.
So he's missed 5, yeah.
Too many. But he's been brilliant when he's played.
Davies-Uniacke from left half forward. Looks for Larkey. He's been barely sighted tonight. Unfortunately, couldn't mark on that occasion as well. In the final moments of the game, Josh Walker outpoints his opponent, marks.
They haven't scored a thing this quarter, North Melbourne.
He knows this ground. He spent a bit of time as a Brisbane Lion. 52 games, in fact. He'll kick after the siren. Just to improve the scoreboard. He can't make any impact there. And Collingwood bounce back. 30-point winners tonight. In what might be the last time that we see Steel side bottom in 2020. 10-5-65. Too good for the Kangaroos. 5-5-35. So the Kangaroos started the game well. They led by 5 points at quarter time. Collingwood led by 5 points at the main break, 16 points at three-quarter time, and in the end they get home by 29 points for the winners. 2 to Rusco, singles to Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Thomas, Dacos, Hoskin, Elliott and Cox. And for the Kangaroos, Scott, Simpkin, Dumont, Sherry and Hosey, their goal kickers as well. The Pies move to 7th on the ladder after 13 rounds in 2020. And it was the second half in particular that was all about the Pies. 4 goals to 2, and they were never really threatened. Even though North Melbourne kicked the first of the third quarter, it was all Collingwood after that, Terry Wallace.
Yeah, it was. Look, they started to dominate through the middle of the ground. I thought Adams and Pendlebury just took over that third quarter, those two players. Moore and Maynard controlled the back half of the ground, and the turnovers were the thing that hurt North in the third quarter, when Collingwood really got on top. But it was a much better performance from Collingwood. I'm still not convinced that all is right, with the way that forward structure is working for them, but certainly better signs this evening.
Mason Cox came back in tonight and kicked a goal, and I would say he looked a bit nervous early on, to be honest, or a little bit unsure, but as the game went on and in the second half, a couple of nice handballs, a couple of blocks.
The little tap on that got Hoskinelli his goal. So, yeah, there were some better signs. But, as I said, still it's a work in progress.
And unfortunately for the Kangaroos, we'll talk about both teams in detail before we finish up tonight. That's now 10 of their last 11 they've lost. Yeah. And their only win was against Adelaide.
Well, you get the sense that they're not going to win many games. With the squad that they've got in at the moment, they're experimenting, having a look at what they've got. They've got injured senior players, so it's going to be difficult for them in the run home.
There's not many chances coming up either. Gold Coast is their next game, which might be a win, but after that, they've got Port Adelaide, Fremantle and West Coast, so
pretty tough.
It's hard.
It's interesting just watching the body language of Reece Shaw, who coached from the bench tonight. The cameras pan to him on the host broadcaster not long after the final siren, and I think that the best way to describe the look on his face and the body language was that it was reality. Reality had well and truly set in, if it hadn't already, that this is a long way from where they thought they were going to be at the start of the year.
No, well, no doubt it is. I mean, as I said, they got injuries, but I think that the reality for them was that they believed that they were further advanced and closer with a senior-bodied team to play finals, and all of a sudden, let's call it a quarter of those senior players weren't really up to speed, and they've been dropped out of the side, and I think North's going to go without them in the future. So it's going to be a rebuild. It was probably what Brad Scott told them they needed to do.
And they didn't want to hear it.
12 months ago,
yeah.
they didn't want to hear it. And that's the position we now found ourselves in.
It's turned out to be pretty well spot on. Their emergencies tonight probably told us everything we needed to know. Aaron Hall, emergency. Jared Polek, emergency. Majak Dor, emergency.
Yeah, well, that does say it, doesn't it? I mean, they're senior players. If you're not getting a game at this stage, you've got to be questioning what your future's looking like.
It's a good smattering of Collingwood supporters in the Sunshine State. Read the story of a few who kind of read the tea leaves pretty early of what was going to go on and had unfortunately lost their jobs and just said, bugger it, we're going to Queensland for however long.
Exactly right.
So they're up there and they get to watch their team play every week. Pies heading into the rooms. All smiles. A much happier room than what it was last Saturday at the same venue. Now they're starting to make their way in. As we mentioned, they will finish the round. This is the last game of round 13. They will finish the round in 7th spot on the AFL ladder. Carlton next Sunday at the Gabba. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Collingwood and Carlton at the Gabba.
And a really fascinating game now.
So the last of them just coming in. And they'll get ready to belt out the song. Taylor Adams is sort of like the chorus master saying, more noise, more noise.
The hype man.
He was the hype man. That's exactly that's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Jordan. Needed Jordan to help me out there. Steele Sidebottom spoke to Fox Footy just moments ago. Is it his last game of the season? Let's see if this interview tells us any more.
A really important win after a disappointing loss last week.
Yeah, it was very pleasing, I think. We knew it was going to be a tough one to crack, and I think we stayed at it long enough, and towards the end of the game we were able to put a few goals on the board. It's probably somewhere we've struggled a little bit at the end, but just to play it out to the end and have a win is good.
Looked like it was hard to get your ball movement going. A really scrappy first quarter.
Yeah, a little bit like that, and I think it comes back to being a little bit cleaner around the footy as well. Their pressure is elite in the comp, and you expect that around the footy. So tighten a few things up, but I think, as I said, we were able to chip away and open up a little bit late.
Tell us about Taylor Adams in the middle of the ground. Looks like he's a real leader, and another 30 possessions today, he was outstanding. Yeah,
and I think, we've obviously had some guys go down, but he's the one that's really, stood up and almost wheeled the boys to, jump on his back. He's the way he prepares himself. He's the hardest bloke, out there every week, but it's a credit to himself.
It's been one of those strange years, I suppose, and it's an exciting time coming up for you with your first due in a couple of weeks for you and Alicia. Tell us about that moment.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Obviously had to make the call probably about a month ago, but at times I've felt guilty leaving her at home on her own, but I love my footy a lot, but I think getting back with my partner and being able to experience my first kid is obviously a lot more important, and I'm very excited and can't wait.
Yeah, exciting times ahead for you personally and for your footy club, so congratulations. Well done.
Thanks.
Steele Sidebottom talking moments ago. We thank Fox Footy for making that audio available for us. So there's the confirmation, Plough, that he will be headed home, I would imagine, on a plane in the next couple of days, and depending on situations, that may be it. For him.
Well, it looks like it will be, you would think. I mean, it's sort of difficult with circumstances in Victoria at the moment to be able to get back here, do what he needs to do, then get back up there, then isolate. It's pretty much of a big stretch, isn't it?
Well, we've seen that situation with Gary Ablett and Shane Edwards as well, where they wanted to go earlier. The Queensland government didn't grant them an exemption, so they'll be on the plane with everyone else when they travel in the next couple of weeks. Levi Greenwood is going to join us from the Collingwood rooms in a few moments as well, and Darcy Moore talking to Fox Footy. We'll have a little bit of that for you as well. AFL Nation, for McDonald's, get into Macca's tonight for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquorland. Click and collect, and in just 30 minutes, we'll come back and wrap this game up on the other side of this.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquorland. Always great value. When it comes to a waste service you can trust, Cleanaway is on the ball. Cleanaway has an unrivaled capacity to collect, process, treat, recycle or safely dispose of any type of waste. They see all waste as a resource. They're always finding better, smarter and cleaner ways to make a sustainable future possible. Call Cleanaway now on 13 13 39 for an obligation-free waste health check to ensure you're getting the most from your waste services. That's Cleanaway. 13 13 39.
GFK collects Australia's radio listening information across the country from January to November every year. You may be asked to participate in the radio ratings surveys, whether you listen a lot, a little, or not at all. For everyone who participates, the radio industry and GFK thank you. GFK follows strict COVID-19 guidelines when contacting participants.
Around the country, state to state, we're quick as we know freight. From a small envelope to multiple pallets, Quick As make it easy as to deliver anything around the corner or around the country. Quick As can deliver anywhere you need, from Bonnie-Doon to Balhalla. We're an Aussie company through and through, trusted to get the job done. When you need to get things moving, Quick As are always ready. Google Quick As today. Quick As, we know freight. Around the country, state to state, we're quick as we know freight.
While in lockdown, here's a little silver lining. Never have you had a better time to work on your business and plan for your return to regular trade. Use this time wisely. Take on a pre-season with Coach Nick. Coach Nick's expert planning and guidance can help reinvigorate you and your business. And then by mid-September, you'll be ready to come out with a bang. Your first consultation is free and it might just change your business forever. Visit coachnick.com.au. coachnick.com.au.
This is Ben Reid. There are fantastic opportunities for buyers of property in Melbourne right now, but you have to know where to look, when to buy and what to pay. If you've seen a property which you're considering buying, you need to speak to an Ian Reid buyer advocate first. We'll provide a free independent assessment of that property to help you make the right buying decisions. Ian Reid Buyer Advocates, a better way to buy property. Call 9430 0000 or visit ianreid.com.au.
There's a saying Grimboss building surveyors live by each and every day. We make it happen.
Grimboss are Melbourne's most highly regarded and skilled registered building surveyors and building code consultants. Bringing over 2 decades of combined experience, Grimboss building surveyors provide first-class consultancy, experience and expertise, commercial, residential and industrial developments. Grimboss building surveyors ensure every project is compliant.
We make it happen. Grimboss.com.au.
Chasing, it's your time to win. Pacing, when your number comes in. Racing, the place to be. SEN Track 1593.
Melbourne's newest radio station is off and racing. SEN Track 1593 AM.
SEN Track, it's the new sound of chasing, pacing and racing.
1593 AM.
SEN Track.
Join in the fun and banter today. SEN Track 1593 AM.
The showroom is closed, but Lexus of Brighton is still here to help. For servicing to keep you mobile for your essential needs, or if you want to inquire about a new Lexus, then Lexus of Brighton are here for you. During these testing times, the team are committed to anticipating your needs as only Lexus of Brighton can. Visit lexusofbrighton.com.au or phone directly and the team will take your call.
Expect perfection. Experience amazing. Lexus of Brighton, 99 Nepean Highway,
LMCT 9897.
AFL Nation for McDonald's. Get into Macca's today for hot, juicy, tasty burgers made with 100% Aussie beef and Liquor Land. Always great value.
So the Pies get the chocolates tonight on Monday night footy, 10-5-65, beating North Melbourne 5-5-35. 6 goals to 2 after halftime, really setting the game up for them. And a shout out to Tyre Power, great supporters of ours here on AFL Nation. Go and see Adam and his team right now at Tyre Power Melton, and you can get buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Kumho tyres. Let's talk about Collingwood here, Plough. Levi Greenwood going to join us very shortly, and we'll hear from Darcy Moore in just a moment as well, who spoke to Fox Footy. They had definitely looked like they'd come to the end of that little patch when they'd played the 4 games in 14 days. It's by no means an excuse for what happened against Melbourne. Did you see a bit of freshness? Did you see a team that benefited from the break tonight?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The midfielders looked sharper and stronger, particularly after half-time. But, Pendlebury starting to get some real continuity back into his play. Taylor Adams, excellent through that area of the ground. I thought the longer the game went, the better Grundy got.
Yep.
Where in other games, I think he's sort of almost got worn out towards the end of game. So that was better for them. Thought they had a couple of really dominant players in the back half of the ground. Once again, I thought Darcy Moore was excellent. Braden Maynard was a real dominant four-quarter player, one of the better players on the ground as far as I was concerned. So yeah, there was a lot to like. I'm still, it still worries me. The three ruck combination. I didn't think it worked again tonight. I thought Cox showed marginal signs. I don't think personally Darcy Cameron's an AFL player at this stage of his career. Doesn't mean he can't become one, but right where it stands at the moment, if you are having him as a forward ruck or a permanent forward, and he was more forward ruck.
Yeah, he was tonight.
I don't think he's holding up his end. I think that you would be better off with Mason Cox being that forward ruck and going marginally smaller. But the reality is, I mean, they're not going to go in with that. They've got a bloke at the moment who's out with concussion, who's going to come back in and hold up one of those key positions. So it was more a makeshift look tonight with that sort of setup. But, that won't be the way that they'll go when they get in towards finals.
It's still pretty glaring, isn't it, for them in the off-season, which is a fair way away, but there'll be list management conversations happening every single day right now. It's still, to me, it still looks, if they can land a big key forward, it would complement so much of what's going on in the midfield.
You would think so. Yeah, you would think so. And I think they would be the first to say that they need it somewhere along the line, yet they haven't been able to deliver. I mean, I think until this stage they've been really confident that Mason Cox would be the man. We're still sitting here another 12 months down the track not knowing whether that's the case. And is he 29, is he?
Born in 91, yeah.
So from that point of view, you want to make a decision fairly quickly because you wouldn't think that he's going to get a lot better. Once you start to march on to 30 years of age.
This is our post-game show for Beaumont Tiles. Exclusive bathroom packages from Beaumont's, $4,000 the lot. Darcy Moore spoke with Fox Footy just moments ago. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, it's a big relief. You boys know what it's like to, be out of form and sort of be struggling as a team. So that's a huge pressure release for us. And, it was a sound team performance. And, obviously we're all living together and we're living on top of each other. So it's nice to have a win and enjoy the next week.
Last week's Bucks talked about the lack of cohesion. Where do you begin when you're living in a hub to get that cohesiveness back when you can't train anywhere near as much as you'd like?
Yeah, it's been a challenge and every team's gone through it. I mean, you're training in groups of 9. You're not sure if you're doing contact or not. It's changed our training program significantly. It's pretty unrecognisable from the way it was last year and what we're used to and what we've developed over a few years, which when you're a professional team, that's a big thing. So like everyone, we're trying to adjust to those sorts of factors. But, we're slowly getting it back and, trying to find the balance between, staying close as a team and then giving each other space to kind of switch off away from footy. So it's a challenge and we're still finding our way with it, but hopefully tonight was a step in the right direction.
Darcy Moore, just moments ago, as we say, we thank Fox Footy for that audio. They've been great helpers for us this season.
Yeah, look, he was really good again tonight. So I think their best combination to me is Roughhead and Moore down back and, fill the other roles, whether it is Imagine or whoever plays that third role, that can work
Jeremy
as well.
Howe, obviously,
Jeremy
if they get
Howe,
him back,
he can come back. He had Sharon Berg as an emergency tonight. So the two pillars to me, I know they dropped Roughhead, but I didn't understand that really. So I think the two pillars down that end are Roughhead and Moore. I still think at the moment the two pillars up the other end are Mychek and Cox.
Yep.
I think that will be the way that it'll end up going into the latter part of the season. So, is that good enough? I think the back half of the ground, yes. Whether the front half of the ground is, we've still got to wait and see.
So from an injury point of view, I know that you and Jordan fleshed this out at half-time, but for those who may have missed that, Jordan De Goey with a serious finger is still 4 to 6 weeks away. So he, to the best of my understanding, is in a bit of a race against time now. Jeremy Howe likewise, although the talk is that it's much more promising. He's back running now, and I think they'll start to add some lateral movement in the next week or so. Isaac Quainer a week away after having his shin cut open a few weeks ago. Braden Sire 4 weeks away with a quad. Ben Reid was injured last week with a hamstring. That'll be 4 weeks. You'd imagine we won't see him again this year. And Adam Treloar's the one that really hurts. He would add something really different to that midfield.
No doubt.
He's still 3 to 4 weeks away. That hamstring injury of his was much more severe than what they thought.
And understanding that now you've got Steele Sidebottom not going to be there. So you've got one coming out. If it was almost, I know they play differently, much differently. I mean, Sidebottom is everything that Treloar isn't, and Treloar's a bit of what Sidebottom isn't.
Yeah.
So, but if you had Sidebottom coming out and Treloar ready to come back in, at least it balances things off a little bit more.
Let's jump into our awards. We'll start with the Furphy Unbelievable moment for Furphy Refreshing Ale. It is unbelievable.
Well, we had a chuckle when we both thought that this would be the one. It's unbelievable when a bloke 8'6" can tackle a little man who tries to run around him on the mark, and that was Simpkin. He sort of saw big Mason Cox on the mark and went, I can take you any day of the week. It was unbelievable to see the big fella rip him down and put the tackle on. I'm not sure who believed it more, whether it was Simpkin or Cox.
Furphy Refreshing Ale, born in Geelong. Unbelievable. Or us. We didn't really believe it either. The Glenn Cameron Can-Do mark of the night.
We didn't have the speckies tonight, but I thought Tristan Sherry's mark, the contested mark in the goal square, one-on-one with Roughhead and just they beat him. It ended up almost being a one-hander, so it was a pretty special mark.
For MEGT, kick goals with MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. Our rookie, it's a player that hasn't played before the start of this season.
Yeah, I picked one from each club. Lockie Hosey from North Melbourne and Trey Rusco from Collingwood. Rusco kicking the 2 goals, Hosey kicking the 1. Hosey having more possession than Rusco. I'm still going to give it to Hosey. I know that he was involved in a couple of little incidents in the third quarter, but I just like some signs, and I think he's going places.
MEGT are your local apprenticeship experts. Our Bendix Breaks big moment. I thought it was going to come when Jai Simpkin kicked the first goal of the third quarter for North Melbourne, and you thought, oh, hang on a sec, okay, they're here to play, but I get the sense that won't be it. Confidence stopping Bendix Breaks.
No, well, the difference between the two teams was the turnovers, and unfortunately for young Lockie Hosey, he was involved in one of those, a kick across the ground where they turned the ball over, gave Collingwood ascendancy and kicked the goal, and then on the very next play, the ball was turned over once again, and it was 2-goal turnover at that stage. The other one was Dumont. It was a poor hand pass to Hosey. Nothing that Hosey could have done about the second one. So, first one he'll learn from. Second one wasn't his fault at all. Those 2 goals really flipped everything back to Collingwood's way.
We'll get to the rest of our awards in just a moment, but it was fantastic to see Levi Greenwood back out there tonight. First game since injuring his knee in the qualifying final of last year against Geelong, and he joins us around Australia on AFL Nation. Levi, welcome back. That must have been fantastic.
G'day, guys. Yeah, it was. It was, mate, it was awesome just to be back out there again. Long time coming, 11 months on the sideline, so I was just happy to go out there and have a kick. And, boys really turned it on tonight. We knew that North's contest was going to be pretty strong all day and all night, and, we weren't going to break it until the end, which what ended up happening anyway. So,
how was the first 5 minutes for you? Were the lungs blowing up early on?
Mate, I was cooked. So I sort of got around it a little bit early, and then I was like, mate, I'm so stuffed here. I'm gonna get cramp here. So I went to the doc and got a cramper. I thought I'm in a bit of trouble, but I found my legs after that. So it's just that first little blowout, and then after half time, it was just trying to hang on a little bit. It's just different. Like, we just haven't had the prep that you'd normally have coming back from injury. We haven't had the time to train. We're training about 40 minutes a week, and sometimes there's not even a reserves game in. So it just makes it a little bit different. But I mean, that's what this year is. So I think there's a lot of guys in that position, but I think we end up just having to pull the trigger and go, I think we've done enough here, and get back in.
Levi, Terry Wallace here. Great to have you back. Now, there's one person who I wouldn't have thought it was great to have you back. That was young Jack Marnie. You nearly put him in the next week.
Oh, no, I felt that bad. I was just hoping he still had the ball in his hand. Because I thought it was the guy that was in game. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Simpkin. Then I just ran straight past him. And, it's just good timing, that one. I'm glad he got out there and played, because you don't want to see anyone get hurt on the footy field. But There was a few of them tonight, actually. I think Travis Varco was lucky to get out of one late. That was incredible.
The other thing that I'd like to ask you, do you still have a little bit in you that likes to play against your old team, or have you sort of passed on with that as time's gone on?
Yeah, I think so. I think you always look forward to it. It's just there's a lot of guys out there that you still know. There's a lot of people around the football club that you still know and you still talk to. We're in the hub together at Twin Waters, so we're actually quite familiar with each other. Like all the teams are in the hub with each other, and we've got Melbourne there as well. So to go out and play them, you sort of you got a little bit extra in there that you want to push out, and it's always good to get away from the win. They touched us up last year, so it was good to get that one back on us.
Just thought when the game needed to really ramp up a little bit, the senior boys in the middle of the ground, Pendles and Taylor Adams, they were tremendous in that third quarter. I think 11 and 10 respective possessions, kicked a goal each in that quarter. Yeah, just the cream rose to the top. Yeah, that's right. And Tay's been doing it all year. I'd hate to think of where we'd be at without Tay in the team. He's been a stalwart, and it's like he's probably our best player at the moment. And without him, we'd be in a lot of trouble, I think. And Pendles is always there. He's always turning up, and we did miss him when we lost him for a few weeks. So it's great to have him back in the side also.
And it's great to see you back out there as well. Levi, thanks for joining us, and good luck. A very interesting game coming up next Sunday against Carlton, so we wish you all the best.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Levi Greenwood making his return to footy tonight. He could be our Host Plus Sustained performer. Host Plus, the official superannuation partner of the AFL.
Absolutely. I don't think Jack Marnie thinks he should be. But
no.
It was a bone-crunching tackle. But that's a welcome back to footy. I mean, and look, he's right. You don't want to be hurting anyone, but you still got to have a presence in the game. And I sort of said about young Mackay later in the game, should have been doing exactly the same. You still got to let people know that you're out and about and you're there, and because what you do is you put a bit of nervousness into their next action. We talk about pressure. There's a thing called perceived pressure. So the next time Jack Marnie goes near the ball, he's wondering whether he's going to get another one of those. So it's part of the game.
Our goal of the day, did we get to that at the end? Our goal of the day, on your phone, you're driving blind, TAC?
Well, goal of the day, and it's a Collingwood match. It's usually a Dacos, isn't it? And Dakes' goal was brilliant. The thing I liked about it was that he actually opened himself up to get flattened by Jed Anderson to be able to get the ball away first up. So it was brave, it was brilliant.
Let's get your votes, Terry, for NHP Electrical Products, 100% Australian owned and available at a recognised NHP wholesaler near you.
So my apology was Lukey McDonald. I thought he was comfortably North's best player in the end. I gave the three lots of votes to Collingwood players tonight. Could have nearly had them in any of the order of 3, 2 and 1. I went one vote to Taylor Adams, 31 possession game, 6 score involvements. He's having a brilliant year, as was just said by Levi Greenwood. I went my 2 votes to Braden Maynard. I thought he was a really good 4-quarter player, 26 possessions, 6 score involvements off the half back line is a really good effort and super tough. And I gave Scotty Pendlebury best on the ground, 28 possessions, went at 89% effective. I thought when the game was on the line, he was the one who really turned it around. He had 5 score involvements as well, a really solid performance.
He's evergreen. And Nathan Buckley pretty happy as he's hosting his press conference now. For Stockdale Lego, we see more than property. So the Pies winning tonight by 30 points. As I say, it sets up a fascinating duel next Sunday afternoon against Carlton at the Gabba. And for North Melbourne, they take on the Gold Coast Suns Sunday night at Metricon Stadium as well. A couple of days before the next round starts. Plough, go home and rest up. Thank you for tonight.
Good on you, Jack, and we'll do it all again next weekend.
Big thanks to Jordan Canellis. Thanks to Mitch and Tomo here as well. And thanks to you for being with us around Australia. We'll see you on Thursday.